Yes, hello, habari. Nawakaribisha katika show yetu siku ya leo. Today I'm a bit earlier, but no problem. So yule ambaye ako na time ataingia, and if you don't have time, you can actually come and watch in the evening, or the time when you'll have a moment. So I wanted to discuss this issue of by-elections and why we cannot continue duping Kenya in the same lie, which we always say that the by-election are the only way in which you can be able to test if a party is popular or not, because that is the propaganda war which Mr. Ruto and UDA want to institute, so that we can buy the lie that if UDA is going to win one or two by-elections, that they are still popular. But the truth of the matter is the by-election is able to confirm how coalitions will form. So the by-elections, which usually come before people start to conglomerate together, is usually a litmus test of if coalitions are makeable or not. There is a problem here, and that is why I didn't want DCP supporters and people to panic when you see there is a likelihood that our two candidates could collapse. That is Mbere. In Mbere, I'm hearing that the DP guy is the one who is being supported, and the Kivui of DCP is he is being mummified. I don't know how true it is, although I saw the MP for Manyata trying to say that he is still supporting DCP candidate there. I'm waiting to see how it will percolate. Then there is the issue of Marava. With I think there are some opinion polls which have been given out. I don't know how true they are, or they are meant to hoodwink people in a certain direction. And again, the DCP candidate there seemed like not to be doing well. I don't know how true it is. And it's there is an agreement that it is better in Marava, that in Marava, maybe all of us opposition, we support the DAP guy. So then there is now this talk whereby now people think now maybe DCP is collapsing, or DCP is not able to engrave itself in political fronts. But there is a discussion I wanted to tell people here, is that people also need to understand, like the Mbere seat, DP, they are having some entitlement, because the guy who left there was a DP person. And these are some of the problems which you always get when you are in the same front and pushing the same agenda. So you realize that DP and DCP will be like eating to each other, unless if they agree on what to do what. So it doesn't mean that DCP has become unpopular, like the way UDA guys, they want us to believe. The truth of the matter is that this by-elections show us how coalitions can be formed. And just as like I said earlier on, in this shows that coalitions are becoming unpopular, and it is true. So I don't know how coalitions are going to be. Coalitions are not going to become formidable. I see the only way in which now coalition might work is that people might be forced to collapse their party, and you form one big movement where everybody comes and joins. I don't know how Rigathi Gachagua is going to take that, because he always says that the reason why Mr. William Ruto mistreated him, it is because he did not have a will, or he did not have a political party. So, but the truth of the matter is different political parties working together is becoming difficult in Kenya. Those people, the coalition is not maintainable if you lose the election, because now some of the people want to gravitate to the government which has won the election. So that is the problem which we are having when we start talking of now forming coalitions and what we are going to do. So it's a problem which they have to be prepared of it. And I don't want to pretend here that this problem is not serious. It's it's a very serious problem which these people, they will have to know how now to relate and interact with each other. So from my own observation, I feel and I think the the best way to form formations now is forming huge parties, but different parties where every party you come on a coalition and a pact, it will not work because of those competitions. And those competitions, when we are approaching the general election, you can agree on the top candidate, but when it will come here down, it will be very difficult for who to live where. Zoning will be very difficult and very complex because every party will be feeling and and many different people wanting to vie. So by-election has nothing to do with how popular presidential candidate is. So by-elections are a litmus test of formations, coalitions, how coalitions can percolate. And now these by-elections have already shown me there is a danger of coalitions. It will be difficult for people to coalesce. I think UD has already progressed on that area, whereby they have been able to swallow somebody like Mudavadi and some other people. But for us in opposition, we will have to see how we will work with each other. This extreme love of small political parties, regional political parties, could actually dent our ambitions moving forward. So there is some science there, which our leaders have to learn quickly. Though that one doesn't mean that even if UDA has been able to collapse their parties and much of their parties are supporting UDA, it doesn't mean that now UDA is becoming popular. That is one thing which we have to be clear about that. No one wants UDA. UDA has committed cardinal sins, and no one is interested in supporting UDA moving forward. They killed the young ones. Their regime killed the young ones. Their regime was unable to solve Kenyan issues, and that is why there is no support from major population of UDA party. Even if UDA party is pretending to be very organized, they can pretend to be as organized, but there is no somebody there. I have seen some people trying to say that it is two-term, it is two-term. Two-term has to be embedded on a record, just like Matiang'i said over the weekend, and I really supported that statement. So you cannot be telling Kenyans you want 2 terms or you want an additional term, yet the country is running in chaos. Those two things cannot work. No one has money other than Ruto cronies. No one feels his life is better other than Ruto cronies. There are only the Ruto friends and the people who are near to Ruto who feel life is better. But life for everybody else is not good. So at times when I hear somebody coming here, like I listened to my brother Themba the other day, and he was saying that he is in two-term. I was not able to respond to him. I was not able to understand, is the decision of Mr. Themba or any other person who is saying that it is two-term, is it a critical decision which has been done by you, or it is a decision which you are doing because somebody popular is supporting Ruto? And I have come to one judgment that majority of people who are supporting Ruto, that decision is being done in wholesale by somebody else. I don't say that they have reached a critical mass and we don't need to fear them. In any case, any person will never miss a supporter. So I do not say that Ruto will miss supporters, but our confirmation has to have so many supporters that that side of Ruto will become irrelevant. If Ruto pulls a shock and he wins the Kenyan election, then I would say that Kenya will be the first country which does not learn. There are so many issues and problems which Ruto administration has done to even think, not even to get In fact, Mr. Ruto is not supposed to be thinking of even vying for a second term. That is, if Kenya is an organized state, he should actually be apologizing to Kenyans for the mistakes he has done, but not coming to tell us he want other votes. Mr. Ruto should be returning to us saying, poleni sana wa Kenya, munisamee afadhali, hata nikienda nyumbani tafadhali munisamee. Hii kazi nilikuwa nimepata ni ngumu zaidi. I don't want to continue you people hurting you. Mutafute yule mtu mnataka, lakini naomba munisamee. So Ruto should not be borrowing votes, not borrowing. Ruto should not be asking for votes. He should be apologizing for the mistakes and the feelings and the tormenting nature of his regime, of what he has done. But I'm surprised that he is asking for votes. How will a regime which suppressed young people, killed young people, committed economic massacre, still go to raia na kusema nataka munipee kura? It doesn't add up. So let's not be fooled or cowed or hoodwinked by UDA propaganda as they want to do it, that by-elections are meant to show how popular a candidate is. By-elections have no capacity to show the strength of a candidate. It is impossible because by-elections are not homogeneous. They are pellets. So you need an homogeneous support which can be postulated from region to region, so that you can make that decision that these by-elections are showing this candidate is popular. By-elections have no capacity to do that. They have no capacity to do that. Even they show the coalition which is stronger, but when it comes to a popular candidate, you have to wait for the experiment to thaw for quite a longer time. So right now, you cannot just say, like, simply because it looks like DCP candidates are collapsing in the by-election, that our party or DCP party is not popular. Wait until we form and you'll see them. So, and I think Mr. Gachagua politics is also moving forward. And I think we should not get frustrated, regardless of how our politics are percolating or are moving. We have also to learn to be stagnant to where we are. Tukisema sisi ni wa hii mrengo, we should stop so much comparisons. The other side can never be good. We should not even be saying that we wish we are doing things like them. There's nothing to admire on the other direction. So saa zingine nasikia watu there's nothing to admire in the other direction. So ni sisi tutengeneze nyumba yetu so that it is ready for Kenyans. So we have to make our house so that it is ready for Kenyans, but not trying to wish that, or maybe that what good things can Kenya make? What good things can Kenya make with Ruto at helm? It doesn't make sense. So you should not wish. Yeah. Wow. So I'm trying to look at things which are trending. Niliona Gachagua jana. He was somewhere in the church. Okay. So I think based on how things are, kulingana na vile vitu ziko, it looks like we can forget ODM. I can see in KTN wanasema, anyway, which is okay. Yeah. So naona hapa UDA, okay, Apodia Keo Yes, karibuni sana. So I think we can forget ODM for now. It looks like ODM want to form that. Well, so wacha niwapee hii NTV kidogo watuoneshe hiyo pact ya mwisho which they are making. Anyway, we have forgotten them, so we have to support the front which is supporting people. These people are supporting themselves so that they can continue taking advantage of us. So any person who wishes or salivates to support Ruto and Raila Odinga, you are just supporting individuals who are destroying your nation. So it is so unfortunate that you can even wish to support these people. Yeah, so we will keep on exposing these people. Raila Odinga, he has no bullet left. Mr. Ruto has participated in destruction of our nation. So, but we can listen to what they are making.
In Nairobi.
Let's talk politics now, where President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga appear to be in the final stages of reviving the Pentagon political matrix, which the opposition used to try wrestle the presidency from the late President Mwai Kibaki. The composition of the broad-based leadership has ensured it consists of perceived political kingpins from nearly all the regions, with the sole intention of consolidating votes from the various regions to assure President William Ruto a second term in office. And as our senior political affairs reporter Chris Thyro details, it's almost a done deal that Raila Odinga will support President William Ruto for a second term in office come 2027.
In the run-up to the 2007 general election, opposition leaders were initially united with the sole purpose of opposing the 2005 draft constitution, formed the Orange Democratic Party, ODM. The politicians will later form a coalition of political kingpins from different regions in the country to form the Pentagon that led campaigns to face the third president, the late Mwai Kibaki, at the 2007 ballot. With ODM leader Raila Odinga being their leader and their preferred presidential candidate. The then Pentagon consisted of Odinga from the Nyanza region, the current president, and the then Eldoret North MP William Ruto representing the Rift region, the late Joe Nyaga representing Mount Kenya region, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi from Western region, and the former Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala representing the Coast region. Former Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu would later join the five gentlemen. What followed was a contested presidential election that resulted in post-election violence and later power sharing, which saw the whole opposition join government.
All rise.
Fast forward to 2025, almost 2 decades later, the top bigwigs of the Pentagon have yet again been forced to coalesce for their political survival. This time round, President William Ruto is the leader of the team. ODM leader Raila Odinga is expected to support his re-election to State House. Chief Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi getting a boost in the Western region by the entry of National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula in the fold, mining CS Ali Hassan Joho and Senate Speaker Amason Kingi replacing Najib Balala, with Health CS Eden Dwale representing Northeastern region. However, from the Mount Kenya region and Eastern, they lack an outright political leader to push their agenda.
They should read Sun Tzu's first law.
I need to react to that, and karibu sana Sheikh. I need to react to that. If Mr. William Ruto and Raila Odinga are claiming what they are doing is something similar to Pentagon, they should wake up. There's no Pentagon which they are having. Pentagon was having the. I think these people are crazy. Pentagon of 2007, 2005 was a confirmation with the blessing of the people. Now we are now having a pentagon where a majority of the members are missing. We are now having a pentagon where Raila Odinga is not even at 40% of his capacity when he was forming the original pentagon. Now we are now having a mule Raila Odinga. We are now having an incapacitated William Ruto who cannot do anything. Somebody who has been tested and he cannot do anything. There is Nduare who has been tested, he cannot do anything. Ni wizi tu kule kwa SHA, kwa mahospitali. There is huyu governor wa Mombasa, former governor wa Mombasa, who is CS for mining, ama ni gani? Another useless guy. So I don't know. What Pentagon are they talking about here? The Pentagon, which personally I supported, of 2007, is not near to what I'm seeing here. Is not near to what I'm seeing here. In fact, if I postulate the capacity of the Pentagon, and that's why I'm saying government thrive on propaganda. It is a propaganda they are trying to create, perception, using the old glory. It cannot be Pentagon. The Pentagon of 2007 is not what I see here. It was a confirmation. It was a platform with a lot of goodwill from people. Raila Odinga has lost all the favor from people. William Ruto has lost all the favor from people. No one listens to Duare. No one can listen to Joho. I don't understand which Pentagon is here. But again, if you are foolish or if you are not able to figure out things quickly, media inaweza kuletea story kama hii ushtuke ufikirie, hey, this is not even Pentagon. This is not Pentagon. This is something without a shape. You know, Pentagon in eternal. This is not Pentagon. It is not Pentagon. It is let me call it it is faceless. Something you cannot name. It is not Pentagon. So don't listen to Mr. William Ruto and Raila Odinga propaganda. If Raila Odinga thinks he can recreate Pentagon, he should go to the bend and dream again. He cannot. Raila Odinga, I think he has to start understanding his former days are gone. He is no longer the person who used to pull shocks. I can tell you, a man on the path of reclaiming, Raila Odinga is nowhere near recreating Pentagon. Sheiks, go ahead. I just wanted to talk about that propaganda about they are creating Pentagon. Which Pentagon? A president who has no favor with people. No one supports him. Nothing is being like, it's a Pentagon of failure. Hakuna kitu hapo. Anyway, mtaniambia na waingililia sana, but kama Pentagon ndio hiyo, mimi hata sitaki. Sheiks, go ahead. Unless kama unataka tu kusikiliza, I can give you a moment or two to also talk about Pentagon. Hiyo Pentagon tunaambiwa Pentagon. Hey, I don't think, you know, even footballers with the time, maybe grad, unajua unaweza kuwa uonangi mpira. Unajua, sijui kama mumeiona Cristiano Ronaldo who here saw Cristiano Ronaldo in 2004. Huyu CR7 huyu tunaongea hapa. When he was a teen in Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo. When sasa ni kama sasa uanzie kusema Cristiano Ronaldo wa 2004 ndio Cristiano Ronaldo wa sasa 2025, 20 years down the line. Uongo, not possible. Cristiano Ronaldo of 2004 was a serious one. I remember in our high school hall during entertainment, wale vijana walikuwa wametoka huko Nairobi, sio kama sisi watu wa Gishagi vijiji, who had already started understanding the issues of DSTV. So I was always hearing like young boys in my school saying that hey, leo hakuna entertainment, tunataka kuona Cristiano Ronaldo. We want to see Cristiano Ronaldo. So that time he was a teen, a young boy who was doing extremes in football. Yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo cannot pull what he was doing in 2005. Ile alikuwa Ile alikuanga anachonga kutoka kule kwa defense, anaenda mpaka kwa bao na anafunga. It is the same Cristiano Ronaldo, but he cannot do it. So Mr. Raila Odinga, you cannot do a pentagon. So stop propaganda. You cannot do a pentagon. So Gradual is saying something, ananisalimia, nimesalimika sana. Gradual is saying something. Pentagon was Pentagon, not this one. Yes, I agree. So when somebody is claiming that they want to rebuild a pentagon, rebuilding the pentagon, sasa kitu ilitetemesha Kibaki. Huyu Ruto na nani anatetemeshwa na yeye? Sisi mtu hata majenzu amemshinda, anasema wapigwe risasi ya mguu. Is that person we need to fear? You don't need to be organized actually to defeat William Ruto. You don't need to be organized. You just need to be deliberate and willing to solve Kenyan problems. That's why I'm even naambia watu wapinzani waache uoga mingi sijui nini. How can Ruto defeat you? Somebody with no agenda. All the time anasemanga sijui wala wana mpango. Between if Ruto had an agenda, he could have already achieved that agenda. Now he has all the tools. See, Ruto doesn't need to consult anyone to solve anything. He can use executive orders to do some of the things which can help the nation. Anyway, wamalizie pentagon yenyu mnadanganywa nayo anyway.
Of war, never fight the last fight. That was a fight that they fought on a different terrain. There were different soldiers, there was different weaponry, different artillery, different issues in forming that war, but they can cobble it together.
With all indications clear that ODM leader Raila Odinga will not be on the 2027 presidential ballot, the ODM top leadership seems to have taken the decision to support President William Ruto's quest for a second term in office.
It will make sense for them to continue working together, to recommit to each other. I believe that the best chance for both parties is to move into the next election as a joint group.
You can always say this is how we played in 2007 and that we could play that way again. It's probably going to be a losing fight.
Well, the political dynamics might be different comparing 2007 and now, but the political players still remain the same with the sole intention of getting power.
What has been happening with Raila Odinga is that Raila has lied throughout his life. He has cheated the Kenyans totally, and they have accepted to be cheated because they never understood him. Right now, Raila has exposed himself completely.
UDA and ODM parties have already agreed on the zoning in the coming by-election slated for November. UDA will not be fielding a candidate in Kasipul.
Yeah, nimefurahia sana hapo huyo profesa anasema kitambo watu wako wanaelewa Raila Odinga. Sasa Raila Odinga ametoa kifua yote, he has exposed himself completely. Ukweli, any person who has to be lied by Raila Odinga, you have no one to blame. Raila Odinga atakuja kudanganya, you have no one to blame. Hiyo uongo ni wewe umekula. And immediately when he actually joined Ruto, uongo yake ilikuja sasa ikakuwa sasa ni uongo in salvo. Ile uongo inatoa mpaka moshi hivi. So anyway, any person who listens to Raila Odinga, you have yourself to blame. But we cannot keep on telling you that this guy is taking you nowhere. All what he cares about is his own appetite. He doesn't even care about Luo community. Raila Odinga ana kazi na Wajaluo, but he pretends he cares about the Luo community. He cares about Kenyans. He doesn't care about anyone. He cares about his interest. But it has taken us blood to understand that. Imegharimu damu tuelewe hivyo. Anyway, ni sawa. Imegharimu damu tuelewe Raila Odinga ni fake. But ni sawa. You cannot fake forever. people become clever at some time also.
Constituency, while ODM will not field a candidate in Mbeere North constituency.
I don't want to really get into Raila Odinga's messy game with the system. It's a messy game because first and foremost, he's standing on very shifting sands. That is not him. When you see a lion eating grass, there must be a problem.
Both President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have already set March 12th when they will be reviewing the implementation of the NADCO report as well as their working relationship ahead of the 2027 general election. Chris Dairo, KTN, Nairobi.
Well, that story.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry that Raila Odinga has wasted so much time for so many people. But in sawa, inabidi wakati yako iharibiwe ili usome. There's no problem. We are now clever. So Raila Odinga, I think unaweza uende ukue raia wa Uganda huko ama Southern Sudan. Maybe hawajui kama wewe unadanganyanga. So those ones they still are not aware. But I'm sorry, Mr. Raila Odinga. You are no longer attainable in Kenya. I don't think there is anything of a shock you can pull in Kenya. Wakenya tu anakuangalia tu hivi tu anauliza sasa huyu. So stop pretending that you have power. You don't have anything. You have no power. Sasa naye Wavinya, was that a mouth slip? Ama there is something about Wavinya. There is something about Wavinya. I want us to analyze this statement very keenly. Na nahurumia wale ambao watakuja kuona show baadaye because leo mtapitwa na mambo kubwa. Hebu msikilize hii story. I want you to listen very keenly. Very keenly. Please, very keenly. And we analyze.
The former vice president amekubali kushikana na President Ruto. Sasa wao watokee kiti ya opposition. Ninasemaje? Tuelewane. Nimesemaje? Akili Ndego amesema the former vice president amekubali kushikana na President Ruto. Sasa wao watokee kiti ya opposition. Ninasemaje? Tuelewane. Nimesemaje? Mnanielewa? Sasa Raila, the former prime minister na President Ruto wamefanya nini? Wameshikana, si ni sawa? Sasa hao si ndio serikali? Sasa sisi na His Excellency Vice President Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, sisi tutakuwa nini? Official opposition. And that is democracy. Tunaelewana? Hiyo ndio democracy.
Now where President William Ruto and ODM leader
nimewahi kuwa mwalimu na ukiona mwanafunzi ameandika answer na amecancel anaandika ingine, most of the time ili ameandika ya kwanza hiyo ndio inakuanga ukweli. Sasa hapa Wavinya Ndeti, we need more data. Hapa tunahitaji. I want you to listen more. Wavinya jana alisema Kalonzo ameshikana na Ruto. And that statement was very explicit. And akakuja kucorrectiwa. I presume huyu jamaa alikuja kumkoreka akamwambia wewe Hiyo ni story ya boardroom, wewe ni nini mbaya? Hiyo I think maybe Wavinya was not wewe Wavinya. Hiyo story ya Kalonzo na Ruto ni story ya boardroom. Saa hii tuna pretend bado tuko opposition. Unasikia? Hebu nione. Hao watu ni watu wa mauongo na ako na uji kwa kichwa. After kuwa bibia. Anyway, let's listen to Wavinya. I hope it is not propaganda. I hope this is Wavinya. Hebu munikosoe because I was shocked. Hey.
Akili Ndegwa amesema the former vice president amekubali kushikana na President Ruto. Sasa wao watokee kiti ya opposition.
No. Ngoja kidogo Janet, Psychology. I want us to analyze psychology. Asha sema hiyo statement. Let's assume huyu jamaa asingekuja, what could have happened? Asha sema hapo, unajua ni psychology. I want us to analyze it like ni kama kwa harusi. Unasikianga mtu anasema, "Hey, wageni karibuni sana. Tuko na wageni kutoka Nairobi, mnakaa kwa hii hema, tuko na nini?" Unajua vile program ilikuwa imeundwa kwanza. Tuko na hawa hivi. Watu wasikue na shida hapa. Tunakula saa 9. Nasema kwa yule jamaa Mutavania. Tunakula saa 9 leo. Hey. Hivyo ndivyo kulikuwa kumekubaliana na hapo nje. Tunakula saa 9 leo. Haya. Alafu sasa kidogo shik, alafu nikupe. Alafu sasa jamaa anakuja anamcorrect, anamwambia hapana. Hiyo story ya kukula saa 9 tumebadilisha. Watu wanakula saa 7. So anakuja anasema tunakula saa 7. So swali, watu walikuwa wakula saa 9 ama watu walikuwa wakula saa 7? Food for thought. Sheiks, go ahead. Kata sana. Sheiks, go ahead. Yeah, John Mudhumbi, it always happens that way. There's nothing like a slip of a tongue. It doesn't exist. Okay, go ahead, Sheiks. So, okay, go ahead. Frankly speaking, no, nataka to analyze this statement psychologically. Me, I want us psychology. Mimi sitaki tufikirie psychology. Nataka muone umama vile atasema. Na mimi nimeuliza swali rahisi. Huyu jamaa anakuja kumunongonezea. Kama angekuja, what could have happened? Janet, niwe nauliza. Huyu jamaa amekuja sasa kumwambia, "Wewe hapana. Hiyo story hata kama tuliongea kwa boardroom, hapa tunasema hivi." I know those things because that's what people say. Unajua, wacha niingize Budi. Let me pray mama Wavinya, alafu Budi nimpe nafasi.
Akili Ndegwa amesema the former vice president amekubali kushikana na President Ruto. Sasa wao watokee kiti ya opposition. Ninasemaje? Tuelewane. Nimesemaje? Mnanielewa? Sasa Raila, the former prime minister na President Ruto wamefanya nini? Wameshikana, si ni sawa? Sasa hao si ndio serikali? Sasa sisi na His Excellency Vice President Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, sisi tutakuwa nini? Official opposition, and that is democracy.
I don't want to go beyond that. Psychology tells me otherwise. I don't want to go beyond that. I don't want to interpret it beyond that. Budi, go ahead.
Unajua Jiru, I don't know kwa nini umeamua leo tuwe na mshene. I don't know hiyo mshene. Mshene yenye unataka kuleta hapa itashika. I don't know what you're trying to bring out, because you're not being just like to the point. But let me help you out. In this empowerment thing, it can tell you the target, and it can tell you what has been done over and over. On last week, was it on Friday or whichever day it was, you heard Matiang'i say that the empowerment, Kindiki and these empowerment people have gone to Kisii a record 16 times, only to end up giving people 64 shillings. And another empowerment target area has been Ukambani. Now, for the record, just for the record, you need to know whether you agree with me or not. Wanjiva, the governor for Machakos, is the beloved wife of Kalonzo Musyoka. You need to know that. I mean, there should be an argument over that. I think by now it should be on the record, and every Kamba should know. It's not an hidden thing. It's not Mshene or it's anything. So, and you have seen it in many ways coming out. For a long time, Bibi Kalonzo amekuanga mgonjwa. I think we all know, and we respect that. We don't want to go deep into that, but Kenya has a constitution that allows polygamy, and there is nothing wrong. So the only problem is that when they play politics together, yes, kama Mudhama bibi yake alipobekama senator, Mudhama decided like he must give space to the wife to continue politicking. Now, a few weeks ago or a month or so, Farouk Kibet was in Ukambani, and I want you to play that clip. He made it clear that the roadmap for Kalonzo to leave was clear. And he told us that they are going to make sure that the whole Ukambani votes with Ruto and Raila together. A few days later, if you have known the politics of Raila Amolo Odinga, there are people who oscillate around him. Makau Mutua, with all his hatred towards Ruto, was given a very plump position, because right now the government of Ruto is appointing, experts or whatever names they want to give them so that they can be part and parcel of the government. For a very long time, if you understand how Kalonzo has been maneuvered to support Raila, it is through one man called Makau Mutua. Now, Morara Kebaso, in as much as, he has on his politics that did not up to my, I did not subscribe to his politics, on many occasions said, Kalonzo analala State House. You all know this, but you keep on. Alafu mnataka mchana tuende na yeye wapi? Tuende kukuwa na nini? Tuende kukuwa na pressers na yeye. Mchana tuko na yeye, jioni analala State House. The truth is, if there is a person and if there is a party that immediately after election started supporting Kalonzo, was the Wiper Party. If you remember, Mutula Kilonzo and the governors from the Ukambani never at one point after the election attended any Azimio plenary meetings. At one time, Mutula Kilonzo was on the record told Raila, ukishindwa kubali and stop playing this politics. And his proximity with Sakaja, I think they have had again about 2 or 3 I think in Jeff Koinage show, because they are favorite when they have shows, when Pila Kilonzo and Sakaja wanataka kukua na, they go together and have a show with Jeff Koinage, which tells you a lot, because this is a group that organized with Ruto earlier when we used to have when the budget issue in terms of allocation of resources came up. How they came up with that group with Ledama, Malala, so on and so forth. And these senators empowered themselves and hatched a plan to become governors, and which actually Nani supported. Ruto bankrolled to the end openly, and some not openly. Now, the issue of us kufikiria ati Kalonzo is with us, I have said it over and over. Like, I keep saying it. We can't shout it on the rooftop to convince people that which is out here, and it's so open. You know, if you want to believe in Kalonzo, it's up to you. Kalonzo and his lieutenants said, kama Raila ameingia serikali na hakupigiwa, sisi ni unani tunakaa nje tuendelee kuchapa opposition na wao wanakula. You know, these are people who are very close to him. And what I can say is that right now, Rigathi Gachagua is on his own in many ways. I don't know about Ndegwa, but his politics that Matiang'i is a mole in the opposition, I am not sure about it. I cannot refute it, because some of these people have privy information that me and you may not have. I have not seen it, but you know, it's time for me to start investigating if it's that true or not. However, I think the opposition, as it is today, should understand that Kalonzo is with us for a very short time. And if you want to believe and bank on him, I think it's cholesterol. And I think in the end of the day, we are going to cry, because if that is what we are hoping on, I think it will be a collateral damage, because the man is being believed. There are people here, I have seen people who totally believe in Kalonzo, okay, who totally believe that Kalonzo will never turn his back against us. And you know, I've come to know that people have not learned what Raila has done to us. You know, people have not learned. Sorry. People have not learned what actually Raila has done to the nation as a whole. So I think it will be sad that we as Kenyans, we still believe in politicians. And I think it is one politician it's Amisi who said on the show, when he was arguing with Okech, the senator of Migori, and he said a very good point. He said, if we can still believe, when he was in class 3, Musalia was a cabinet minister, and then until today, now Musalia is a prime cabinet minister, and he started hearing of Musalia Mudavadi when he was class 3. He said, what kind of change do we want if we still believe in people who have shown little since we were in our primary days? Let me echo the words of Matiang'i, but use them in a different ways. What new do you want to be told about Kalonzo? A man who has acknowledged that yeye ni mtu wa kupita katikati, and he has made fun of it, making it an emblem of his political legacy. I don't know. Maybe the next panelist can tell me.
Sawa, Bwana Mbudi, wacha nikupe hiyo video ya Farlock uniambie kama ni yenyewe. And then from there you were saying that hata Gachagua atampoteza. Let's listen in.
Kalonzo Musyoka ana makosa mingi sana. Yeye anakaanga tu katikati. Sasa ameingia huyu mjamaa ya ukabila, ameingia hapo ndani. Ameanza tabia ingine ya kusema expert. Mmesikia maneno ya expert nyinyi? Yeye alianza kwa kusema hivi. Tulipokuja hapa Kitui kanisani, akaambia Wakamba, nyinyi hamkuwa mnastahili kupatiwa hata chairman. Ati nyinyi hamna shares. Na anasema hivyo mbunge wenu amechakuliwa kwa chama ya UDA. Sasa hiyo tabia ambaye na tulikuwa hapa Kitui na huyu mjumbe anajua. Mimi nauliza nyinyi, huyo ni mtu nyinyi mnaweza kusikia kwa mkutano? Huyo ni mtu ambaye anaweza kuingia kikundi chochote? Wameanza kwa kusema expert. Hiyo expert ni kusema watakuja kumwambia Kalonzo, patia sisi shares. Mimi simtetei Kalonzo, maana yako Wiper. Mimi tunaambia Kalonzo aanze kufikiria, akae na huyu ndugu yake huyu, atafutiwe nafasi kubwa katika Kenya ili awe mtu ya maana katika hii nchi Kenya. Sawa si sawa? Kwa sababu ukabila, kama nyinyi watu hapa Sombe, Kitui East, mungehubiriwa ukabila, mimi naamini amungechukua kiongozi mzuri, kiongozi ambaye anapenda wakina mama na vijana, kiongozi ambaye ameleta viongozi wengi.
Not Musmama Mbudi, so that now I can allow Musmama to come. No, so can you connect that with what Wavinya said yesterday? I hope that video of Wavinya circulating is not true. But can you react to that? Like,
it is very true. First of all, I should not have commented if it's not true. Okay, then you take the legitimacy of my comments away. Because if you say you hope it's not, then I shouldn't even be commenting about it. Because I'm not here to comment about rumors. Okay? This is something that you know very well is not out of maliciousness. There are people who honestly are in the pathway of revealing the duplicity that is going behind the negotiations. Let me tell you, to one extent, sometimes, the reason why sometimes, even though I have associated myself with Raila Odinga, once, even if he subscribes to something that we don't like, he will, hata pita katikati. Sometimes, kiangalia hata hii kitu ya Uhuru kushikana na Raila. Watu walianza, it was Mudavadi na Kalonzo. Okay? And then they realized that the influence was just winning. Then Raila went for a handshake. And the same thing that is happening today is the same thing. And if you want to know the position of Wiper Party from the onset, how even they hosted Bill Gates to bring the GMO and all those things in our country, and the beneficiary was Kitui. We are not castigating a certain people. We are only saying that this has been part. Go ahead. This has been part and parcel on how their politics works. Secondly, these are people who have desperation on how to get positions, because I think they have lost hope in democracy, and that is what I'm saying. So wacha niachia.
Okay, sawa, very good. So Bwana Musmama, go ahead. Leo tumeanza
Asante. Pia nashukuru kwa kuniokolea, maana nilikuwa nitimke hapa. Kwanza pokea zangu ndugu yangu Alex, alafu nirudi kwako Njuu, nao pokea zangu na wale wanatufuatilia. Shukrani zingine kwa kuanza kipindi mapema, lakini kubwa zaidi unifafanulie, maana hapa kizungu kimebana mbavu. Hiki kichwa cha leo haswa naomba ukidadavue angalau kiupande wetu wa Uswahili, maana kidogo uzungu umenibana mbavu. Na ukifanya hivyo niingilie kati hapa ambapo tulikuwa tunamalizia na Alex. Kwanza nilitangulia kusema, kama mnakumbuka kumbukumbu zangu ndugu yangu Alex na Njiro, kwamba adui mkubwa wa hapa taifa letu ni wanasiasa, ama ndiseme siasa nzima. Maana umwambiaye ndiye siye, naye unayesema ndiye ama ndiye ndiye. Sasa inatuchanganya hapo kama wananchi. Ndiposa hili la ndugu yetu hapa wa Wiper na huyu tunamuita nyuni, maana ni kuna ndege fulani huwa akipiga ukelele huwa kuna jambo litatokea, tunamuita nyuni huku kwetu. Sasa huyu anayezungumza na mfanya sana huyo ndege kwamba anapozungumza na mbavu hizi anazozungumza na siasa hii anayozungumza, angaliwe cheo kikubwa, ni ishara wazi kuna kitu kinatokota nyuma pazia, sisi wananchi tukijui. Lakini mwisho wa siku wanaotusaliti ni hawa wanasiasa, especially hawa walo dominant kwa muda katika siasa, wenye kunyima nafasi za hawa wanaosoma ama wasomi wetu, unaona, ambao wana haja ya kuendeleza hili taifa. Wale wako hapa katika hili taifa na wale wako nje kwa ajili ya hili taifa hawapewi mbavu, na kikwazo kikubwa ni hawa kina Madividi na kina Kalonzo na wale wote wenye wamekaa hapa, kina Orengo, yoyote ambaye yuko hapa nao ina affect mpaka hawa wapya ambao wanachepukia haswa katika hii siasa, wamerithi huu ujanja na uchache na ulafi wa mamlaka kutoka kwa hawa wa Kongo. So mimi nitamalizia kwa kusema hivi, naungana mkono na kaka yangu haya mambo aliyozungumza kuhusiana na mambo yalivyo haswa na hawa viongozi ambao wamedominate kwa muda katika hili taifa katika masuala mazima na siasa. Yani unakuta baba yake alikuwa mtu mkubwa, yeye naye amekuja, mtoto ameingilia hapo, mtoto wa mtoto wake naye atakuja kuingilia hapo. Yani tulijenga hiyo huo mfumo, lakini mwisho wa siku ndio umetupeleka hapa tulipo. Maana kila ilivyo lisemwalo lipo, na kama halipo basi ama kama halipo basi njiani laja. Tayari hii ishara hii ilinipa wasiwasi mimi, haswa kwa huyu kiongozi wetu wa Wiper kwamba yupo kweli, haswa ule wakati wa Gen Z. Na hapo ndio niligundua wengi haswa wa wanasiasa kwamba sasa huu ni mtego ambao umewakamata. Maana hapo ndio tulipojua rangi halisi la viongozi wetu walivyo. So hii mdomo mingi tusifurahikie zaidi, maana mwisho wa siku watarudi meza moja, huyu anasalimiana na huyu anasalimiana na huyu. Tumeiona imekuwa ni desturi katika taifa letu, katika siasa ya taifa letu. Yani wagombana mchana wanakuambia usiku watapatana tu, unaona. So to me naweza nikamalizia kwa kusema hivi, labda kujitokeze teaore hapa katika hili taifa, then tutakuwa safe. Lakini kama tutaendelea kuamini wanasiasa eti kwa sababu huyu ni msafi, huyu hajaonekana na vidoa, huyu si mwizi, huyu si mwizi, za kuwa si mwizi lakini ni mwizi, nitaachia hapo ili uniangalie tu hicho kichwa nidadavulie, kisha nimalizie kwa hicho kichwa, mimi nitimke hapa. Asante.
Okay, sawa. So kichwa chetu cha leo ni kuna propaganda ya UDA inaendelea. So unajua sasa, kulingana na vile kunasemekana or part of the formation, kuna uwezekano ile pande ya mbele kusikuwe na candidate wa DCP, sababu kumekuwa na upinzani mkali sana kati ya DCP na DP, na ni kama kuna usikizano ama masikizano, candidate wa DCP hapo aondoke, na pia Malava, kulingana na vile kunaendelea, there is possibility pia candidate wa DCP atatoka. Na sasa vile propaganda ya UDA wanasema ni kana kwamba chama cha DCP kimeisha, and I was trying now to explain that
asante kaka yangu,
chama imeisha ni kuonesha mifumo itatengenezwa namna. That's the problem which was there. Go ahead.
Asante kaka yangu Njiru. Unajua siku zote lilofungwa litaekwa wazi, na asio mtu ana Mungu. Yani leo nitakupa tu haya mafumbo, maana yanashika mambo mengi tu kutokana na muda, sitaweza kuyaweka kwa urefu zaidi. Ikiwa kiongozi wa DCP inaitwa nini hii sikiza wa Kenya, sikiza wa Kenya, mimi nitaachia hapo. Unaona, kama kweli haswa anamaanisha anachokizungumza, basi itakuwa ni mawimbi tu ya propaganda ya UDA na watu wachache waliopewa shilingi 2-3 kuweza kumzomea ili ionekane kwamba Meru hana mashiko. Lakini kama unalipiga jibwa lakini ndani kuna nuka nyama, itakuwa vigumu. Huyu Malala kutoka kunanipa maswali. katika akili yangu. Tusije tukaregeshwa hapa hapa tunapoangalia ya Kalonzo tukashangaa ya Firauni na kisha mwisho wa siku tukayaona ya Musa. Kaka yangu, nitaachia pale juu, sina banduzi za kutosha na ni siku njema. Ningetamani kuendelea na huu mjadala haswa, lakini mbavu nchanga Njiru. Hivyo tu ndo ndavyoweka hii leo.
Okay, sawa. Ingiza budi. So story ndio hiyo. Kulikuwa na kijana alikuwa anaitwa wacha nitoe Farok. I don't think we need him. Kuna huyo kijana anaitwa Busiega. Nilikuwa nikisikia watu wa DCP wanamuita Busiega. Edgar Busiega huko Malava. So I don't think like this I think Gachagua is giving up on these nominations for the common good of coalescing with the other brothers. I don't know, but I also don't think that we should take it as winning popularity of UDA, but it is something we need to monitor, because maybe we can ask ourselves, yeah, it is true, DCP had continued to engrave itself in so many places, even like in Western. But the question which we should ask ourselves is, can DAP do what DCP is doing? Those are the things we can ask. In Mbere, can DP pull? Anyway, it's a question we need to ask. Can those parties, hizo chama ambazo zinasema ziachue hapo ili kukuwe na candidate mmoja, can they pull an equivalent of, I don't know, I hope they have scientific people who are giving them that research. Isikuwe tu ni theory wanatumia. I hope Gachagua amefika hiyo level. You should be having people who are doing professional research. We need to understand, like, if DP is claiming they are popular in Mbere, it should be something which is provable. It should be something provable. Isikuwe tu wanataka tu kutegemea DCP so that now people can gravitate to them. So I would want it to be. I saw some posts from Mizani. So maybe Alex Budi, you can comment about that. What is your take about on DCP almost giving up on some of key races in by-election? Is it going to affect them, or is it like for common good because of the bigger vision they have in 2027, or is it like maybe Gachagua is trying to show that he is somebody who can accommodate others? Is Gachagua like trying to build a reputation that he is not selfish? Is it Gachagua trying to build himself in terms of inclusivity, or why are they giving up on some of crucial races in Kenya?
I think that is the biggest problem of democracy, and if you, in my first year political science class, in my first year in my college, I did a political science class that was more geared toward the Russian politics, the Russian Empire politics, which actually really changed my perspective of democracy. Because I mean, it's the Stalin paper, "What is a state?" and I started looking at the state and the government from a different perspective, which I think I used to think it's synonyms of the government. No, the government and the state are totally two different things. Now, having said that, I made this conclusion that democracy is a myth. there's nothing called democracy. Democracy is a myth. It is something that is perpetuated in our heads, so that we define it, redefine it, underdefine it, over-define it in whichever presence that we want to occupy. Now, if you look at why we kept losing seats, more especially in Nairobi as a county, it's not because we were unpopular. If you look at why we lost the gubernatorial seat to Sakaja in Nairobi, it's not that we were unpopular. This was the most painful thing. The most painful thing was when we gave a ticket in Nairobi because we were targeting the Mount Kenya votes, and at the same time, we were appeasing the Mount Kenya Foundation. And we knew we are losing, but we kept doing it for the purpose of keeping the coalition and the what? And the bankrollers of that coalition happy. Even when we knew that that was a collateral damage. And I ended up saying this in my heart. You know, of all things we have handed Sakaja a silver platter. You know, we used to laugh wakati nani anaenda kwa nyumba za watu anapikia the gubernatorial candidate, anakuwa mama mboga, mama osha vyombo, mama sijui nini. You remember the theatrics that our former Azimio was, but they were not working. All that Sakaja needed is to show his dimples and smile, and he wins the votes. And if Gachagua is going to be intimidated by other parties so that he can start, you know, other people can just give dimples to win these by-elections, whereby these by-elections is a test, and to show Ruto the middle finger, it will be very sad. Political parties should be ruthless. To my side, I mean, political parties and opposition leaders who make headways and make changes are people who do not compromise, especially when it comes to what? By elections. They should be ruthless, because the government is looking for legitimacy. The opposition is looking for what? Not consensus. It's gaining the momentum by all necessary means. So at this point, we know we do not have an official opposition leader, but Gachagua, by consensus, is the patron of that. So him giving up on something like DP because some people are talking this, some people are talking that, it's a grave mistake. I'm telling you, we are going to come here after the by-elections to speak and say, why did we do this? And you must know that the political spin doctoring that is coming from the other side is the one actually that is making noise to the core, so that we can think that, you know, these so-called in quotes are very popular. They are not. Anything on DCP that will be given that ticket and Gachagua goes to do what? To campaign for it. After the nomination are settled, will win. But you know, they want to characterize, and you know what, brand Rigathi Gachagua as a dictator, as ABCD, because it is an easy target. Gachagua should understand he should be willing to take any sort of abuse and insult at this particular time. He must have a thick skin. And that is what I have learned when it comes to when you are ready to become a true opposition leader. You should not connive like Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who became, in the history of mankind, the first opposition leader to endorse the sitting president. Unaelewa? So these things that you are seeing, these are to weaken Gachagua by all necessary means. And these narratives are well skewed to a point that utaskia Njiru, you even change your language, you're trying to be nice. You know, niceness is weakness to the core. Being nice by trying to talk like, you know, DP, what? There's nothing like DP. DP was dead long time ago. We have DCP and UDA, period. The rest, ni uongo.
So now the question comes, I think it's too late for, like, maybe, I don't think the Mbere seat can be rescued, because I think it's like the DCP guy has been withdrawn. I don't know if he can be returned or what's happened. Although I saw the MP for Manyata, Mr. Mukonji, he was rioting, and he was saying, as much as he is supporting that guy with Konde Kivoi. So there is that split in between the middle, where there are some UDA guys, no, not UDA, some DCP guys who are still supporting their people. So I've not heard Gachagua comment about ameachia DP ama nini, but ni zile rumors zilikuwa zinaendelea, ama sijui ni DP inajaribu
One of the greatest strategies over the years that Ruto has used, okay? Ruto has used, and it became open, is his ability to plant moles to the point that you may not understand if you're a mole. And I think you ask me today, in the event of over the past few days, who is the biggest mole within the DCP, I will, without a doubt, I'll tell you it's Malala. I never thought Malala would be, but without a doubt, Malala has been planted there, obviously by Ruto. And he's not alone. He has a contingency of soldiers within. And if you are not careful, DCP was dead the moment it was done what? In its initiation process. And I think Gachagua needs to go to a drawing board and ask himself, what is this that is happening? So that he can retract his strategy as soon as possible. Because what matters is not that paper called DCP. What matters is the spirit of the people and the people of the mountain who are with Gachagua, and therefore form a different coalition and own it with what we call a green jealousy. So whatever you are hearing that, oh, we cannot rescue, or all this cannot happen, those are lies, my friend. It is not too late. Who told you it's too late? We have a presidential candidate who was released from jail 2 weeks to election, went on to campaign, and today is a president for Senegal. Have we not learned from history this word that it's too late? It's not about what the media or the politicians, it's the spirit of the people. Is it too late for the people to vote for that? Have the people already voted? I think you people are being swayed by lies, which Ruto thrives very good in. Let me tell you, if I wanted to be a politician, and I repeat, if I be a politician, I will never be a Moi, I will be a Ruto. And I will double down to be a Ruto times 2, not even Ruto times Raila. Ruto times 2, because this man plays his politics, because he understands power, he has studied power, intimidates people through power, he thrives in power, he cries about power, he gives power whenever he is almost being taken out. He knows how to use power and leverage power and intimidate to a point that sometimes even the media does not even understand where the man is headed to. Why do you cry afoul that I think it is late? Late, have we voted? The by-elections are in November, my friend. Is that Njiru speaking like that? Unakaa kuku imenyeshewa inarudi jioni nyumbani. Njiru, late for what?
Oh, okay. No, the reason why I was saying that, no, I understand what you're saying, but remember now, this conclusion, I made it depending with the different sounds which I was hearing from people. So I was like saying, it looks like DCP seems to have withdrawn their candidate from Bere. In Western, is like DAP is marshalling over them. So the question which I'm asking myself is Gachagua agreeing to that? I did not see Gashagua's speech on that, but it's something I would want to understand because I don't know how now Gachagua is now going to, the parameters he will use to show that his party is gaining momentum. So those are parameters which I don't know if he will still be able to understand. But there's something which I also agree here, Bwana Bundi, that UDA machinery has a very good and serious propaganda network as well as I think they are also designing a system to dismantle all the other people. And to how
Let me help you here. If you saw the Mizani polls, you know, I really laughed because for the first time, we have a pool that is so conniving. And I want Father Darius to come up here because I don't want him to be down there when he knows so much more than me when it comes to that area. Because this is a man who has worked in that area, and I'm only commenting from the perspective of a political analyst. So as a strategist, I will not know. Why? Because I don't know these people very well. But this is my take on this. When you saw the pools for the first time, have you ever seen a pool that comes and say, you know, DCP is the most popular party in this place. Gachagua is the most popular candidate in this place. But when it comes to the candidate is the least popular. DP has no popularity, but its candidate is more popular than all other. You know, can you ask yourself, what is Mizani trying to do in this polls? I want you to play the clip of Mizani in terms of the pulse of the mountain, Wachana zingine za Malava and other areas. I want you, more particularly, you see the sway that Mizani is trying to do when it comes to the mountain, giving us the pulse of the candidate, of the presidential candidate perceived, of the party, of the area. But when it comes to other larger areas, it is economical on that. These pools are typically skewed to undermine, say, yes, we will tell them this party is popular, but when it comes to their candidate, we want to divide them. And you know, they have effectively done that. And you are seeing this division and you are bringing it here because already they have achieved what they wanted. So we are talking not what is in the ground. We are talking what they want us to talk. And unfortunately, even in our channel of intellectuals like us, we are perpetuating the narrative that the Ruto insiders want us to call. It is sad that you and me are talking what those fools wanted them to talk. Why? Yes, they don't want us to undermine DCP in that area. Let us say, yeah, because if we lie that DCP is not popular, then I think Mizani will not be credited for it. But how do we injure these people? It's by telling them, in as much as DCP is this one, Gachagua is giving you wrong candidates. Gachagua started very well. He said this, if you remember, before even he launched his party, said, we are not going to give you to the gagas. One of the reasons why Raila stands tall in the political arena is his people are able to argue on the political front. And it's not going to be easy for Gachagua to sanitize the politics of the mountain. And you must allow the man to do what he has promised you guys to do. So the conversation should be, is Gachagua doing what he told us? The answer is yes. So in support, I support what Gachagua is saying. DP is a distraction. And it is a narrative of the spin doctors like David Itumbi, who are now succeeding to infiltrate your minds. And now you think that a candidate from DCP is bad, a candidate from DCP cannot win, a candidate from DCP did not have good nominations, and you are distracted. Give DCP the confidence that you have given Gachagua so that you can thrive and start building a home. Other conversations that you are having, those are nonsense. My brother, mukipewa hata umbwa, chukueni for now.
MPs. And this time round, they have put out polls that I think we should not dare ignore, especially in respect to the upcoming by-elections. So in this video, I'll take you through the recently released polls by Mizani Africa, and with no further ado, let's get after it. So here's what you need to know. First up, we have Banisa constituency, and the preferred party here is rather peculiar. As you can see here, the preferred party in Banisa is UDA with 58.8%. DCP comes in second with 16.7%. UDM has 4.9%. ODM has 3.9%. Jubilee Party has 1%. And then there is the others. What we can read here is that Jubilee is no longer one of the lead horses in politics. Mambo yao imeisha. ODM, when it squares up with UDA, candidates still prefer to go for UDA because that is the party in power. ODM is just an affiliate party. If we're talking about the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, ODM will be something like ANC before it was gobbled up in a merger. It's just a small sister of a larger party. So ODM, I suspect, as we move into 2027, outside of its strongholds, no one is really going to be trying to vie with this party. They'll always opt for UDA. Now, when we look at the preferred candidates, we can see Ahmed Malim Hassan of UDA is leading with 67.3%. This is obvious, this being a region where Duale has very big influence. Adan Mohammed of DCP is coming in second at 19.1%. But these are things which are likely going to change because of what we are seeing with the Jubaland forces in Mandera. A lot of people in the northern region are complaining about being displaced. Others have been killed. The government is not doing anything about it. They're not issuing any statements. So that's a factor that could shift these numbers if they're not careful. Second key area we want to look into is Mbeere North. When we look at Mbeere North, the preferred party here is DCP. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the narrative of Mlima Kenya East and West is fake. It does not exist. Those in government need to learn that and learn it quickly. UDA is coming in second at a very disappointing 26.7%. They ought to be doing better because Ruto has made their MP the CS of public service. So the hope there was that by that move, Ruto will have somehow become popular. We are not seeing that popularity on the ground. Gachagua and team are carrying the day at 43.3%. UDA 26.7%. Democratic Party, DP, which is the party Roku used to use, has 6.5%. Jubilee 2.9%, and the others are sharing 1.1%. But there's a big lesson to learn here, irrespective of DCP leading. Let us look at the candidates who people prefer. Now, despite DP party being number 3 on the list, Newton Karish of that same party is the preferred candidate. Leonard Muriuki of UDA comes in second at 33.3%, and Duncan Mbui of DCP comes in third at 20%. What is the lesson we can pick from this particular poll? The lesson I would say here is this. Even if your party is popular, don't unpopularize it by picking candidates who nobody likes on the ground. For instance, even if DCP is so popular in this country and it's going to produce the next president, if you make a small-time politician the presidential candidate, that party will lose. A popular party can only be complemented by a popular candidate. So if at all that poll is true, there's a lot of work for DCP to do in Mbeere North.
I will not continue with that. That's a lie. Okay.
So do you understand? Do you get how spin doctoring is not outright lies. It is spinning and doctoring the truth. So the larger part of it is a truth, but you spin the truth and you doctor it to look like it is true. And you know what? They have already achieved the narrative of talking that, oh, DCP is the most popular party in the mountain. But already they have started making mistakes. Now they are giving us candidates that are not popular. Do you understand that's how parties fail? Have you ever known that is the beginning of the death of parties? So you can almost see this, and that doubles at the same time when Malala is vowing, like Bokisa Kitui, should not speak for the United Opposition Alliance. So you can see the avalanche of and plantora of hitmen coming from the pools, from Malala, from other people, so that they can distract as we are going to this by-election. Because by all means, let me tell you, there is no single by-election that UDA and ODM is capable of winning. Let's agree that, let that be the common denominator first of all. Before we start listening to all these lies, let us all agree first and foremost, before the media lies to us, before we go to any spin doctoring, let us agree first and foremost. UDA is not winning and ODM is not winning. Now, if they are not winning, how are they going to win in perspective? They are going to bring out the affiliate parties that they are going to sponsor candidates to humiliate us. So that is the question. Is that what they want to do? That is what they want to do. That is what they are doing in our face. And to our foolishness, we are allowing that debate to go on, including Jiru here. He's saying, it is too late. No, Njiru, own this and say you should not. Njiru, you need to own that the conversation you are bringing and the way you brought it should not have. That is the only way you can bring a cogent conversation here so that we will be able to sanitize. Because already you have said it is too late. Those are the kind of words you have said. And Father Darius down there told you that, no, we have time to do this. So do not refute what you have already said. Own up and say we should not say it is too late, because we are the face of the alternative media and our words means a lot. I wouldn't come here to give credit to these people when they are spin doctoring things.
I understand. The reason why I'm saying that, because you see, also as a politician, you have to also be very careful on flip-flop. As a politician, you cannot keep on, you say, like, you have to be steadfast and rigid on some decisions. So saa zingine DCP wakitokezea wanasema tuko hivi, alafu wanakuja wanatokezea tuko hivi, you start now, confusion in politics is dangerous. So how will you still return yourself into the pole position of politics and you are already given up? That's what I'm
saying. The first thing is the confusion. There is no confusion that UDA is not that popular the way they put it that way. That, the second after DCP is UDA. That 40% they gave, that is a total lie. There's nothing like that. That is the first thing we need to deconstruct. Okay? The second thing we need to deconstruct is there is no way a party like DCP can be that popular and then its candidate to become absolutely unpopular and DP. So what are these pools wanting to achieve? That should be the question. Now, that should be the conversation instead of us using the word we have given up. This issue of zoning that used to happen in Nairobi has made us perpetually lose seats that we should never have lost. And by now, we should have learned hard lessons. Let me be very clear. These by-elections that are coming, we must be surgical and lethal and ruthless to the core. We should not give the Itumbis time to think that they can spin doctor us time after time after time. This is not time for them to do it. We are not going to allow to talk about the Mizani pools. Those are not pools. The pools that we know is that Gachagua is popular in the mountain and there is no question. Whoever that he will choose must win. Those are the pools, period.
Now, and do you think DCP technocrat team is aware of these things which we are talking? Like, because they should be having people who should be informed enough to know what propaganda is and how to fight that. Otherwise, as a party, if you don't have people who can...
Which technocrats? If the face of Gachagua, who remained back to represent Gachagua, is now the biggest mole for Ruto. What did you expect when Gachagua was away? What was Malala doing with Ruto? So it's already coming out that we must go back to the ground and get it back as soon as possible so that the ground speaks. Because what me and you must agree is this, that Gachagua is the face of the mountain right now. There is no question about it. That's why he's being fought left and right. The Soprano man has tried, is not. This empowerment has tried, it's not doing anything. Ichungwa has tried to say this man is killing his father. It's not happening. All the forces coming together to gambit together to fight this man has not worked. And it cannot be that we agree that now his candidates are not good. We must take people back to the words of this man and say, it is time to give you true good leaders. So that now the politics that UDA
Budi umepotea. Budi, I've lost you.
Yeah, I think nimeingia kunuenda
Okay.
kununua lunch.
Okay,
Now
go
I
ahead.
think I'll be driving. I'll be driving. Wacha mpaka nifike mahali nanua lunch, then I'll speak. You go ahead and talk.
Okay. So that is the explanation. You know, that's the reason why we have to. The reason why I brought this discussion and a bit in an analytical way and in a simple way, it is so that we can be able to understand the gimmicks which are being used in the ground. And unless we are able to understand those gimmicks, we will start now falling to Ruto lies and the UDA conniving strategy of showing us things which are irrelevant. I have been showing you polls here, Mukakata. Now you can now see now what is outside there. You can now see what is outside there. So that is not the reality, does not represent the reality. But I think now Gachagua moving forward, he has now to surround himself with intelligent people. He has a lot of fortunes. He has a lot of fortunes, but if we continue listening to the enemy and succumbing, so I don't know who can tell them. Maybe they are he is fearing to lose Muturi, like in Mbere. Mbere was very pivotal for DCP. That one I agree with Anne. I don't think they were supposed to give up on that. So the MP for Manyata is still on DCP. And saying Mbere has to produce a DCP person. Anyway, I don't know how they will work on that. So mimi sijui kama sasa Muturi atakubali. That is now the big issue. Na mimi naweza wauliza Muturi atakubali? Hiyo ni swali. So because Muturi knows very well, for your information, UDA has no competition to compete with in Mbere. Even if DCP and DP ran candidates, UDA cannot win there. So I don't know that fear ya kuachania ilitoka wapi. So to the extent anyway, I'm trying to correlate hiyo kitu Wafula amesema hapa ati the party can be very popular but your candidate is not winning. Ati DCP is very popular in Mbeere but Karishi wa DP ndiye anapendwa.
You know, Wafula is a good analyst, and I can guarantee you that I don't think Wafula said it with a bad intention or intent. He was actually analyzing, and it's now our opportunity to look at and ask ourselves, let's decipher what Wafula is saying. Is it true?
Not all the case. Sometimes a popular party can lose in some places, but you must have put like a very bad character. Maybe mnaweza kuwa mumeenda mkatafuta candidate mbaya sana, candidate ambaye ameharibu jina kabisa. It is possible a popular party can lose. Even in America, you always see there are places whereby Republicans have won the race, presidential race, but the governor is a Democrat, or maybe at a senator amekuja akakwenda. So those things can flip. So it's okay. So wacha nisikia tu vile Eric anasema DCP is a good party, ran with jokers and NIS insiders like Marara. Rigiji needs political awakening.
I totally, for the first time, I've agreed with Ayaga. I think Ayaga seems to be drinking Hennessy nowadays. Amewacha kukunywa chang'aa. And I think that really is helping him a lot. And, we welcome you aboard because DCP is still, we're still looking for a chairman from Siaya and Migori because we still have people from NIS who are in our group, and we know he's not in NIS, so we can. But what is he saying? That is the truth that has come out. That right now, Malala has been the greatest enemy of the people of the mountain. And Savula, to the credit of Savula, when Savula said something before the election, if you remember, Savula said, unajua huyu jamaa Mudavadi, si tunakuanga hapa tunakunywa na yeye pombe hapa chini. He said something of the sort before election last time, and he said how the guy is not able to make cogent decisions. And then he went on to say, hata hii kijana Malala, si nyumba yake amejengewa na nani? ABCD. He ended up to, the other day when they were again kwa hii matanga ya nani ya there's a matanga that nani alikuwa anaitwa nani Wetangula na kina Mudavadi, when Malala actually shocked me. Nowadays apewi nafasi anywhere, akienda kwao, akienda anaendanga na PA system yake, wakimnyima nafasi anaenda huko nje na kwa gari yake huko nje anaongea na PA system yake because saa ingine ananyima. I couldn't have, like, the last thing you could have told me for me to believe is that Malala actually was a root of all within the DCP and within the Gachagua. And that is something Ruto, like, he's so good at, that he can plant malls within our party and we are not able to know. Now that has come out, I don't know how Gachagua is able to sanitize himself and be able actually to deal with this issue and make a national coalition. And that's why sometimes making a national coalition is very difficult, because for you to get people from all over the country who actually you have never worked, because you are given people at the behest of the trust you have on the trust of another person. So some of these people that are given these seats to make a party look national is not people that you have interacted or personally, unfortunately. So in making of a coalition that looks national, I think it's only the grace of God that can lead you to have people who can be who can be loyal to you. And this particular time, that is where prayers, Yake na Dorcas, will need. But otherwise, the infiltration of people that are going to spy on Rigiji, I think it's going to be more than we have ever seen. And that is my fear, that if now Malala is coming out to be one of those people, what should we say about the whole issue of DCP as a party? Where is DCP headed to? Because from its onset, it looks like it started very wrongly and very badly. So I think I agree with Ayaga there, that I think it's time for Rigathi Gachagua to question his earlier co-working group, if they are able to deliver the mandate that he has promised the people who are actually supporting him. And one of the things that he must do as soon as possible is to restructure his team, his core team, that going forward, so that as soon as possible, he must prepare. He might lose the Malava and other areas, but it will be clandestinely wrong if Gachagua loses the by-elections in the mountain. It will be wrong. I insist on that. And this is where I must support Gachagua, whether Matiang'i puts his candidate there, whether it's a person that I subscribe his political, persuasion to, I think this is the time for Gachagua to stamp his authority. And I think I agree with some people who had earlier said, yes, you may say that the DCP is popular in the mountain, but it has not actually showed its mandate. Remember when UDA was coming out of Jubilee and there was a by-election in Kiambu, and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was essentially humiliated to the core. And I think UDA and the affiliate parties that were within that aspect started picking up because of the win that they had within the mountain, and that was the trailblazing moment, okay, for what? For UDA, because it garnered the momentum. We need to set the train into motion, okay, and whereby it will not have the brakes. And to set the train into motion, I think it's a do and die. It's not an option. So for him to look at, oh, he doesn't need to upset, Justin Muturi, that is so petty. One thing, and I will repeat, why Raila and Ruto are where they are today, they have understood for you to become a political dynamo, you must know when you will have to do what? To do away with your best friend. Let me repeat this. If you want to become a political dynamo, I must know when to quit Mutembei, to quit Sound Candid Talk, and also to quit this channel and go to another place. I must know when. I cannot subscribe into loyalty when I know loyalty to some point is playing to the gallery of psychophancy and pettiness. So Gachagua must know where he has reached. He's going to anger many and he's going to make many happy. In the end, if his electorate are happy, it is good. Whether Muturi stays or not, whether he angers him or not, whether he goes back again to criticize him or not, by all necessary means, Gachagua must know that is his seat, not Muturi. So if he's subscribing to that politics of fear, then I think he's not ready to sit where Raila sat, to sit where Ruto sat. Trust me, you must at some point know that your best friend, lazima umutupe, if you want to sit in the politics of Kenya. I'm telling you the truth. Take it to the bank. And if he's protecting Muturi for the sake of DCP, he has already lost. He cannot sit in the table where Raila and Ruto sits.
Wow. Anyway, hata Donald Trump ni hivyo tu. Ametupa wengi. That one I agree with that.
Now you see, and that is why I told you we need to be ruthless. And I think if there was a day that I would want Gachagua to listen to me, it's today.
Yeah.
If there is a day I want Gachagua to listen to me, it is today. Let him not tell us about Justin Muturi. That is a no. Tunamuita aje? In politics, tutamuita aje? I mean, there's a name that has gone. I will remember it, and I will give that. I will brand that name to Muturi.
You can say non-starter. You can use non-starter.
He is a non-starter. Okay, yeah. Exactly. He's a non-starter. So we should not fear to lose Muturi for the sake of winning that seat. Trust me.
What
that
about
seat is more important than Justin Muturi.
I agree. Now the Marav one, can we, the Marav one hiyo ilikuwa naende jamaa anajiita Endiga Mbusiega, where Marara was highly pushing. Should we also give up on that, or we bado tusukume tu huko?
We are not giving up on anything. We will not give up on anything. In fact, this election is about humiliating Raila more than Ruto. Okay? If you don't know. You okay. Hear me?
I hope we are not a very small channel, and maybe Gachagua has heard you. I hope we are not that small.
If you ask even Ayaga, who subscribed to the politics of the coalition, of the brotherhood, of making a fish market in Homa Bay, if you ask him, if there is anything they are waiting for, more than Harambee Stars winning the whatever we were trying to win, it is Gachagua winning in those by-elections. If there is anything Kenyans are waiting for this year to celebrate, that is the celebration we are waiting. More than Christmas.
So then, Bonabudi, if that is the case, then I think Gachagua has to quickly rethink and maybe that communique of Mbere, he needs to withdraw it, and because I don't think they need to over campaign in Mbere. I think sasa Gachagua and Muturi waanzie kusema, and I think that's how it was going for a long time until sasa confusion imekuja hii weekend whereby Karish yule mwimbaji yule amewaimbia Muthoni Kifagio. Sijui kama Mbudi unajua, you know that guy who ameimba Muthoni Kifagio. He's a very famous guy, he is a singer. So until I think Karish mwana wa Mumbere, the singer, he wanted a through pass. Sasa maybe they wanted the DCP candidate to be mummified for the purpose of his own glory. So I hope they can retract it. I hope they are listening to us, because I know
What happened in Njiru? Are you there?
whatever is percolating here is okay. Yeah, it's like I was disappearing. So what I'm trying to say is that I hope Gachagua listens to us, or maybe people close to him listens to us, and they can retract. For now, I would agree with you that so Erika Yaga is saying despite what Gachagua will lose those by election. So sijui kama ni candidates ameleta wabaya ama shida ni nini. So I don't know according to Erika
No,
Yaga.
I mean these are propaganda, and you can know people are talking about NIS wanna be NIS. Okay, so I think he really wants to look for a job in NIS, but unfortunately he's looking it in a wrong place. Those by elections we are not losing, and
Yeah.
I will guarantee you, now, not as an analyst, as a strategist, that you don't need much strategy. And that is why I was like, Father Darius, for all sake, kuja hapa juu, because you know the political terrain there. If you give us 1 or 2, 3, political terrains on what and ABC we need to do, in whichever case we can be of help, we will be. Because this is not the first time we have won a seat that looked almost impossible. If we were able to give Raila the Langata seat when it was impossible, it wouldn't be these seats. When Raila won the by-election, it wasn't a seat that honestly people thought that he could win back. And so history has shown us that by-elections can be won, hard won, no matter what. And the only reason why by-elections are not won is when we allow propaganda to thrive and loyalty to be part of the talking point on the table. And that is why I've said, I think these issues of saying maybe we are angering Muturi, maybe ABCD, and if Muturi is not ready to fold his party and make sure that the mountain goes as a one thing, then he's the enemy of the people. The so-called democracy, sometimes when it comes to zoning of areas, and more especially in by-election, it's the wrongest thing. You allow a party that should not have won to actually not win, but kuiba. I saw that in a by-election that happened in Jogo, whereby a candidate who alipelekwa ndani and Tongi was declared, and Tongi never won, and we were, because we went into petty fighting that evening, because I think Millie Adhiambo came to Kisii, something happened, and by the time we ran to court to bring our candidate out, the radio station had already announced this guy, and it was a by-election. We had also, I mean, it was a catastrophic events that was happening. And that's what we should not allow. The unity of having one unitary system whereby we command, the votes from one place should not be a debate that we must have. The debate is Gachagua should win those things, not Muturi. And if there is an argument about that, then I think then the argument between the east and the main mountain is coming in. Then I think we are allowing the debate of saying Kiambu sio mulima. Okay, we are allowing the debates and seeing these people are bringing out that Kiambu sio mulima anymore. If you allow the issue of East, Mount Kenya East to come in, that this is their party, so on and so forth, not Mulima as one unit, okay? Because we've never had, traditionally we used to have South Nyanza, so on and so forth, and I think that debate I had it today, and rest in peace, one of my favorite MPs and a person I respected so much, Dalmas Otieno. Whenever even Dalmas Otieno, with all his accomplishments, a person who had a stellar record when it comes as a member of parliament, with every kind of achievement he had, when it came to issues of by-elections and other things in Luo Nyanza, there was nothing like Mount Kenya, South Nyanza and Kisumu and Siaya. They united and said, you know what, ODM or Fort Kenya or Raila must win this thing. We have seen that over and over and over. The problem of democracy and being lied to that, this is Mount Kenya East and ABCD, is that one that when it comes to the mountain, you get lied to, so that, you know what, other people can connivingly come in and be able to take a stake. And now, because I think, if you realize in this pool, Mizani, by them saying that, UDA still has 40%, they are clandestinely trying to say when the national elections will come for presidential candidate. Since Mizani has already prepared you guys, sending you that, UDA still has 40% popularity within that area. So they can easily say that, it has always been. Do you remember when there was a by-election? UDA was popular for 40%. By that, they will be able to steal election by 40% in that area, because already they are preparing in stealing elections. What UDA and the mountain must do is to totally humiliate the UDA and its any affiliate parties like DP, and be able to give Gachagua 99.9%. So when it comes to election, the general election, when they will be trying to steal a little bit here, so that they can have 50+1, you could have told, or you could have shown that the middle finger that, not in the mountain. But what you people are trying to do with this little division is allowing him kutoa kidogo hapa, kutoa. Remember the votes that Ruto was declared with, or the Uhuru and Ruto were declared with. They were never humongous votes that were like 6 or 2%. They used to be 0.something% that gives you 50+1. So they are in that trajectory of stealing the election, which is the national election. So I think it's the right time, the mountain, to show that, Ruto does not have any vote here in these by-elections. But what are you people doing? You are allowing a debate that will be subject to say that Ruto still is a little bit popular, about 20 to 40% in the mountain, especially in the east. Therefore, give him a clear win in the national elections. Do you see that trajectory, the way they are skewing it in a very smart way? And you must deconstruct that as early as possible. Because I think Gachagua has already done it with words and with what? With the rallies and with the rhetorics that already is making it is possible for Ruto and all his people, including Kindiki, to be able to address the people. Now, that must be reflected in the votes. So if you don't reflect that in the votes, then what will make Ruto not steal your election? Yeah.
Okay, so Bonabudi, I think that one is fair enough. Let me show you a certain report which has come out. Now, you help me to understand how would such a political party be even salivating to win a second term? I don't get it. Like, and I said it here, Ruto and his colonies should be apologizing for what they have done to Kenya, not looking for votes. Listen in. And then we
Sita mwaka huu Gashohe KTN.
Bado tukiendelea mtazamaji, Rais William Ruto alipokuwa akiwania urais aliwaahidi Wakenya kwamba serikali yake itapunguza mikopo. Lakini kwa sasa chini ya miaka mitatu ya uongozi wake, Kenya imekopa zaidi ya shilingi trilioni 3.5 na kwa jumla deni limepanda hadi shilingi trilioni 12.1. Hii inamaanisha kwamba kila Mkenya sasa anabebeshwa mzigo wa deni la shilingi 2,800. Haman Kamareki na kina cha taarifa hiyo.
We have said we will first slow down, put the brakes on borrowing.
Rais William Ruto alizungumza haya wakati wa mdahalo wa uongozi alipokuwa akiwania kiti cha urais, wakati huo akiwa naibu rais. Wakati aliposema haya, deni la taifa lilikuwa shilingi trilioni 8.6. Ajabu ni kwamba chini ya miaka mitatu serikali yake imekopa zaidi ya shilingi trilioni 3.5, ikiwa na maana kuwa kila Mkenya amekopa shilingi 60,000 katika miaka mitatu ya uongozi wa Ruto.
Tutakomesha mambo ya kukopa bila mpango.
Kwa jumla, Kenya sasa inadaiwa shilingi trilioni 12.1. Hii ina maana kuwa kila Mkenya anadaiwa shilingi 208,000 kufikia sasa. Wakenya walipoandamana, kiongozi wa ODM Raila Odinga alisema atawapeleka wale wataalamu wa uchumi kutoka ODM kusaidia serikali kusonga mbele.
Problem with debt sustainability. The numbers are there. The figures are there. Even the IMF has the figures. World Bank has figures.
Na kulingana na wataalam, serikali ya Kenya Kwanza imekuwa ikikopa shilingi milioni 2.2 kila dakika, sawa na shilingi bilioni 3 kila siku. Wakati huo huo, mkaguzi wa hesabu za serikali Margaret Nyakango alisema fedha nyingi zinatumika visivyo. Ripoti ya hivi karibuni ilionyesha jinsi serikali ilivyotumia zaidi ya shilingi milioni 17 kwa chai na mandazi kila siku na milioni 2 kwa kuchapisha karatasi kule Ikulu.
Na tujiondoe kwa mambo ya mikopo ambayo ni mtego, inaweza kuumiza taifa letu la Kenya.
Hivi sasa deni la umma nchini inakaribia 70% ya pato la taifa, yani GDP. Singapore, ambayo Rais William Samoei Ruto alisema Kenya itaifikia chini ya uongozi wake, ina deni ya 160% ya GDP, lakini inaelekeza fedha zake kwenye mifuko ya uwekezaji wa taifa na uchumi wake unaendelea kustawi. Changamoto ya Kenya, wakosoaji wanasema, ni kwamba sehemu kubwa ya mikopo inazama kwenye matumizi ya kawaida, ufisadi na ulaji. Haman Kamariki, KTN.
So, Bonabudi, why would you even compete with such a government? You want to tell me?
I think I had forgotten this, and I would like you to. It should be a subject that is special. If there was a day that, okay, before I say that, I have always known that stupidity is contagious, but I never knew that it could be that contagious. Until today is when I realized that, you know, ukikaa na mtu mjinga, unaweza kuwa mjinga sana hadi, I mean, you know, ujinga wako inaonekana wazi. But ukiacha kuwa na huyu mtu mjinga, in a few days, in a few months, probably maybe 1 or 2 months, maybe 21 days, again, you can go back to be what you used to be or be a better person. I have said here, on this platform before, and I would like to apologize on that, especially on Ndindi Nyoro. I have always said here that Ndindi Nyoro is overrated. However, if there is a speech that this year that made me sensationally happy, an economic speech, is what Ndindi Nyoro said today. I don't want to speak more about that speech. I don't know if people heard about that speech when he's talking about housing, talking about the debts, explaining about the whole issue of how Kenya Kwanza has duped Kenyans. I think David Wafula had the opportunity to just not even analyze it, just put the speeches alone in all his clips, I think about 4 or 5 today. And I listened over and over and over and over. And you know, I apologized to Ndindi Nyoro.
I think I have
for. Let me finish this 2 minutes and then you play it. I think if there is a person that now we need to listen to who is able to hammer for the middle class and the people who are illiterate to understand what actually is going in that country, because the news anchor here have just put a snipnet of, you know, you may not understand what 2.2 every second and 3 billion a day means, and what Uhuru used to say 2 billion a day is being stolen in Kenya, until you listen to Ndindi Nyoro. Ndindi Nyoro went overboard to the extent of over-explaining exactly and actually deconstructing the housing thing that Ruto is doing, to a point that even me and you, when we invest in building structures and buying land, he was essentially telling us that in terms of investment, that is not even investment. That's why people like institutions like Old Mutual are actually selling their own real estate, because they are not assets anymore, they are liabilities. You rather put your money whereby you are getting double digits, because he's saying even if you build so many real estate, by the time you finish, they will oscillate from double digits and come to single digits, which actually you will not even be able, if you are lucky, you will get only 8% of the investment that you have put, which is actually nothing at all, instead of putting it in capital ventures. And he went on to explain how Peter Theniel, invested in Facebook, so on and so forth. So I think people should listen to those speeches today and be able to understand why Ruto is a failure economically. Thank you.
Over the weekend, Ndindi Nyoro delivered a powerful economics masterclass that exposed how Ruto has brought this country to its knees through his endless appetite of borrowing funds left, right, center. And in this video, I want to walk you through Ndidi's expose, and with no further ado, let's get after it. Number 1, Ndindi Nyoro claims that every major development you see in Kenya today is as a result of Kasongo's illegal internal borrowing. And mind you, it comes with stupid interest rates that make Mogo Finance and other murky lenders look like saints. Just listening to this.
Everything you see with your eyes happening in Kenya now, in terms of development, what you can see, for example, the expansion of this Keno Marwa Road is not even part of the 12 trillion borrowed. Is another loan on the side called Fioreve securitization. Everything else you see in Kenya in terms of development, like even the Talanta Stadium, is also not part of the 12 trillion debt. That is another debt, securitization of the sports fund, where we borrowed 46 billion and we'll be paying 100 billion in interest rate alone after 15 years. Even the expansion of Nairobi-Nakuru is also not part of the 12 trillion you have borrowed. That is NSSF money being used as a PPP to build that road. I request those who are in government, you have already borrowed 1.2 trillion every year. And even what we can see with our eyes is actually not part of that borrowing. Please, kueni na huruma ya nchi ya Kenya.
Huyu rais atakopa paka atumalize. He's a dangerous fellow, a very dangerous character who has no educational background in anything economics or finance. Unajua, the Bible says my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Tuko na mtu hana knowledge ya finance, amesomea botany, sijui zoology. How can you apply that in leading a country? Instead of building the economy, is building houses. Totally skewed reasoning. When you listen to Didi Nyoro, unaweza kasirika mbaya sana. In fact, if that speech goes viral, inaweza leta maandamano this week. Anywho,
ever dreamed of leaving the ground level life behind? At US Aviation Academy, your first takeoff happens on day.
Moving along to number 2, Didi Nyoro now claims that we have borrowed 3 times what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years, but we have done it in just 3 years under William Ruto. Listening to this.
There is one thing that is troubling my mind as a Kenyan on the economic front, and it's something I am not saying it to accuse anyone. I'm saying it because it is important. If you read the central bank data, it shows that the Kenyan economy, we have now borrowed. Our national debt is now over 12.1 trillion Kenya shillings. For the last 3 years, our country has borrowed in excess of 3.5 trillion Kenya shillings. So I would want to request all of us as the leadership, and especially those who have the opportunity to make decisions in the executive, let us serve our country with dedication, and let us not seek to give good narratives out there when the Kenyan economy is actually being teared down or torn down. We have borrowed over 3.5 trillion Kenya shillings in 3 years. President Kibaki borrowed 1.2 trillion in the entire 10 years he was president. And therefore we have borrowed 3 times in 3 years. We have borrowed 3 times what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. That's the money Kenya has borrowed in the last 3 years alone. 3 times what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. And in that money, I have not included other debts that Kenya has now become clever to borrow in the name of something called securitization. I've not mentioned even that. It therefore means the economy of Kenya is borrowing 100 billion every month. And every single day, when the lights go off, every day, every single day, Kenya is borrowing 3.4 billion every day.
You know, Uhuru told us 2 billion is stolen daily in Kenya, and that was during his time in office. So now I guess those who used to steal the 2 billion are now in power, so there's no longer a need to steal. Sasa form ni borrowing. Wale walikuwa niba 2 billion per day, they're now borrowing at least 2 billion per day. Hata wameongeza kidogo, maybe kuna interest rate nini, imekuja 3 point something billion per day. Once a thief, always a thief. Na ile kitu hii inafanya mwizi anaacha kuwa mwizi. It is usually 2 things. Number 1, either ashikwe na watu, achapwe viboko, ndo ataacha. Wizi. Number 2, option is we vote him out in 2027. Anybody who is going to vote this government in 2027 is somebody who is not wise. It is somebody who is not patriotic. It is somebody who doesn't love this country. It is somebody who to bring others down. Whoever is voting for Ruto in 2027 will be that sorcerer. What Didi Nyoro is saying is very dangerous. Imagine what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. We have borrowed 3 times more in just 3 years. What kind of banana republic are we running? Na hakuna kazi inaendelea. There is nothing important we are doing. The national debt is rising. Even if you are doing debt reservicing, we would have been seeing that the margin is creeping up slowly, not exponentially. I promise you soon, your Ugandan shilling and the Tanzanian shilling will be stronger than the Kenyan shilling. If we give this guy a second term, we will be here to review that, if that mistake does so happen. But anywho, guys, that's just my take. Do drop me your comments in the comment section.
Bwana Mbudi, swali. What is the political confirmation for Didi Nyoro? Where is he pointing in terms of politics? Is he on our side as opposition, or is he at the middle? Where is he? Because I think
I don't know kama ni mimi napotea potea ama ni Njiru, ni wewe internet yako iko weak.
I think his political standing can also make me absorb the internet, but I have very serious internet, but mambo inakuwa hivi. So I don't know, maybe help me understand, like where can you position the Dinyoro politically? Not economically. Economically is very good, but politically, where is he? Is he on the middle of between Ruto and Gachagua? No, let me say Gachagua position, or is he trying to form his own political narrative where he can build his own political movement, or where is the Dinyoro? You know, this conclusion.
You know, and I will have to give a preamble on this so that you can understand where I'm coming from, because I think if I don't do that, people may think I'm defending Dinyoro. And even if I defended him, it's all in my rights, but I'm not. So that's the disclaimer I'll give. But let me give a preamble here, and it's going to be a spiritual one, or from a religious point of view. At some point, people used to say, I follow Apollo, and some say, I follow Paul. And there was a controversy in that. Those who have studied theology knows that better than me. But in that good book, they explain, whether you are for Apollo or whether you are for Paul, it does not matter. They say, people preach the gospel out of pain. Others preach because they want others to do what? To get salvation. And in this context, you can say, or paraphrase it, there are others who preach the gospel to get money. There are others who preach the gospel for the sake of salvation. But the Bible comes to this conclusion, which is what I draw out of that controversy. That whether you preach Christ in this way or this way, it doesn't matter to me as long as Christ is preached. Okay? Now, let me now put that from the political context of the man Dindinyoro. Dindinyoro has tried to be neutral as much as he can in the politics that we have seen all the events that are happening in the mountain. My conclusion when it came to Dindinyoro, whether he supports Ruto or he supports Gachagua, whether he is pro people or is pro the Kenya Kwanza government, what is important is if he is relevant in giving us information to understand. When he was the chair of the budget committee, some of the things that were done, I think that will be good for me. Okay, so my conclusion is the same as Justin Muturi, the same as Gachagua. These are people who fought tooth and nail to get Kasongo to power. Fortunately or unfortunately today, they have seen the light of the day. All these people belong in one place. There are those who are on our side who fought Ruto, to the nail. But today they are sitting with Ruto. And that political confusion, if we let that, we want to judge people overly based on that, I think we are going to find ourselves in a quandary. Okay? And that quandary is going to be very painful. As of now, we must draw and ask ourselves, where as a people are we going to? Economically, this is what this man has done. And for that reason, he doesn't deserve a second term. So any information that I get to perpetuate and exacerbate my point in regards to the one-term movement, I think I will buy it. And for this instance, I think in a few instances, Muturi, Gachagua, and Dindinyoro, who supported the president to take over, have given us good reasons enough why Kasongo should never have been the president of that country. So I cannot sit here saying I know his political affiliation, but I can openly say that some of these things they are saying are indicators that Ruto did not deserve to become the president, and he does not deserve to continue to become the president. And if you have to leave him up to 2027, he does not deserve to be re-elected as the president.
So let me show you the last thing so that you can react. Kidogo tu.
You can get this fixed now and pay later. You can get this fixed now and pay later. And this, get it fixed now and pay later in 4 interest-free payments at SafeFlight.com.
SafeFlight Repair, SafeFlight Replace. This is where Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
90%.
All right, guys, here today's top stories in Not to the World segment. Number 1, remember when Cleophas Malala objected to the appointment of Muhisa Kitui as the opposition official person? Well, G has finally issued his rebuttal to Malala. Here's the tip.
Na pale kwa secretariat juzi tumeamua ya kwamba tumeweka Dr. Muhisa Kitui hapo atusaidie. Na huyu deputy wangu kijana anaitwa Malala. Kijana paf ananisaidia sana na ni kijana mzuri. Lakini niliona alikuwa na wasiwasi ati imewekwa mzee inatakikana vijana tu. Hapana. Pale secretariat yetu tuko na majenzi na milio ndio wanasukuma kazi hapo kwa secretariat. Na wanapanga kazi nzuri sana. Na tuko na imani na vijana, majenzi na mabilinio. Lakini lazima tutafute mtu mmoja iko na experience ya kuwa guide na kumenta house. Iko namna hiyo. Kuja kwa hiyo secretariat asimamia hao vijana ndio tuweze kufaulu. Na nimeongea na Cleophas Malala nikamwambia asikuwe na wasiwasi. Yeye anataka tuweke vijana wote tupu kila pahali. Hata pale kwa chama yetu ya DCP amejaza majenzi na mililio. Ndio natawala sisi pale. Na anafanya vizuri kwa sababu lazima hao majenzi na mililio watusaidie.
Okay, you can react to that, Bwana Budi.
I have no comment on that. I have no comment on that. Rigathi Gachagua is not a man who you cannot hide, like almost know where he's headed. You know, when he has a love for you, he will address you with certain words. Ukiona ameanza na huyo kijana, ni kijana mdogo Malala, unajua you can almost tell that he's not happy with him. So Malala should be careful, he's on his way out.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah, actually I agree. Can you play the response? I agree with can you play the
wakati the United Opposition ilikuwa inachagua secretariat, yani yule mtu ambaye atakuwa msemaji, na wale wetu the principals wakachagua Muhisa Kitui, yule ambaye alikuwa former MP wa Kimilili, mzee aongoze kwa msemaji. Mimi binafsi nikasema hapana, hii nafasi ya Muhisa ni lazima wapatie kijana, kwa sababu vijana ndio waweke moto. So tutakuwa na
internet yako ni sisi ama ni internet yako ndio.
Ndio shaka kabisa. Leo wewe pia unatetea vijana sana. Sasa vijana hata wazee wanakuwa maneno akanielezea kwa nini lazima iwe Muhisa Kitui. Na mimi kwa sababu mimi nasikia vijiji kabisa. Huyo ni kitu kwa akili sana. Mtu anaona ndio kwa hiyo amekuwa chini na alikuwa deputy president. Sasa hata kama kwa rais. Akanielezea mimi nikaelewa. Nikasema kwa sababu nilijia nasema Muhisa Kitui kwa spokesperson. Mimi naunga mkono hiyo maneno ya Muhisa kuwa spokesperson. So tusonge mbele kama United Opposition. Na nimeona vizuri. So jamii mnasema ni fasi maneno ya tukue pamoja.
Okay, I don't know if that was the response which was needed or it is another response. So far, sijui kama ama kuna video ingine mpya kidogo. Remember, he's one of those who used to Kasongo to insult Njage so long. Yani sasa ndio Ndindi Nyoro anajua maneno ya Kasongo. Hawa watu utubeba wana. So it's like Njage is like in other words, he is not boarding. So Njage nimesummarize hiyo story yako yote, unasema you are not boarding. Yeah, so that's what hivyo tu ndivyo unamaanisha wewe, unasema you are not boarding, and it's okay not to board. So, sisi kazi yetu ni we just need to react. We just need to react to what these people are saying. Yeah, so Marara, I think, as tunasemanga recanting, he has recanted his words, and he is saying he's supporting Gachagua sababu ya experience of being a DO all the way to being a deputy president. But lazima tuendelee kujipanga. So Gachagua has to sit down and strategize more. Hii kazi anaomba ni kazi noma. It's not a simple job. Planning for an election win. Actually, the biggest thing is to understand the people working against your agenda. Because if you understand the people working against your agenda, you can now be able to understand the agenda you need to bring. So at times unakutanga saa zingine you're always pushing forward, but you're not looking at the forces taking you behind. So Gachagua, you have to keep fighting, but at the same time you have also to look on your bridles. Lazima ukae ukiangalia side mirror, what's happening behind. Hakuna mtu ana drive ameangalia mbele peke yake. Driving has to be holistic. Unaangalia mbele na occasionally unaangalia nyuma. Because somebody could be driving behind you and they want to come and crush you, or they want to make you make mistakes. Yeah. So my discussion today was very simple, that I was largely speaking about the by-elections. So I do not know if still DCP has goofed out of those two key positions. But much of the discussion which has been done here, people feel like DCP should reconsider its stand and they should field candidates. Yeah, even whatever happens by now, it is not an indicator that Gachagua is not having support. So Gachagua has to continue pushing his political pursuit, knowing that there's a lot of expectation from Kenyans, and he has to keep on avoiding many mistakes. I think by election mistakes are mistakes which could have been avoided, but it's okay. Hivyo anaendelea kusikiliza ground. I hope hajaacha kusikiliza ground, so awache kusikiliza mabonyenye sasa. So kama sijui kama ground ya Mbere ilimwambia hivyo, it is something I need to know. So ground ya Mbere inasema tuachie DP na ground ya huko. Unajua kuna difference ya ground and the political actors. Those two people are pushing they don't push the same thing. Budi. So, and Budi, I think you'll also react to me about that. At what time do politicians stop being the ground? So, is Muturi the ground? Muturi in ground, like. So, what is the will of people? Like, what wanatakaje? Like, majority of people, because Gachagua should be listening to majority of people. Your ground anasema, and if Gachagua listens to the ground, as he says, he should not be having even issues in this by-election. Somehow there is some confusion agents who have come to him. That is why we are seeing this. Because I think the ground would want a DCP candidate in Mbere. I think that. So, Father Unasema, can you comment on Wanjiko Mohia rejection? Can we conclude that that shouting was was against her. Nikuuliza tu. Wanjiko Muya anakataliwa kwa nini? Na naona aliruka DCP mapema sana. Okay, let's listen about that rejection of anaitwa Wanjiko Muya. There are some threats that she could become one term. Wacha tusikie. Unamuita Wanjiko Muya. Na kwa nini hawamuiti Mugembe? Nikuuliza tu. Na venye alijitahidi. Niliona mama amejitahidi, anasema hoya, sijui ni kipipiri hoye, kipipiri hoye. Mama yetu. Oh, la. Kumbe anyway, ground. Let's hear what ground said in kipipiri.
Are you tired of flipping houses, inconsistent results, always chasing your next deal, and constant...
Tuko na mheshimiwa wa hapa Kipipiri, Mheshimiwa Wanjiko Muya.
Is that not jubilation? I'm getting confused there. That one looks like jubilation. Father, you will comment about that. Is that not jubilation?
Kipipiri oye! Kipipiri oye! Kipipiri oye! Kipipiri oye! Kipipiri oye! Kasongo wapi? Kasongo wantam! Kasongo wantam! Kiongozi wetu ni nani? Kiongozi wetu ni nani? Kiongozi wetu ni nani? Nemukenete. Nikuna hegeni. Kipipiri.
Haya, harambe. Harambe. Naomba tafadhali kwa heshima.
I think Gachagua amechukulia haraka. I think he needed to save the face there. Hapo nimeona Gachagua amechukulia haraka. Psychologically that one says much. Nimekubali father. Ukiona vile Gachagua ukiona vile Gachagua amechukulia hapo haraka. Hapo iko kizunguko mkuti. So when you pick up, you want to have an eye pattern. Unataka kubadilisha hiyo trajectory. Yeah, they were saying one term to sio one term. Mimi unajua nasikia one term nafikiria ni Ruto anaambiwa one term. Mimi unajua we have always been, kumbe hata one term imekuwa devolved. Unajua mimi nikisikianga one term nafikirianga one term ni ya Ruto. So kumbe one term ni imekuwa devolved. Unajua kumbe father one term has been devolved So kuna one term ya Ruto na pia kuna one term ya hawa wako chini bado So listen to that guy who spoke after her. He said the reason as to why they rejected her speech. Aya, itabidi unipe jina. I don't know unless ama nitafute the guy who spoke after her. Huyo jamaa ako hapa. Oh. Wacha ni Okay. Wacha niweke. One time is for
Thank you. Haya. Tuko hapa na Mheshimiwa Kongo.
Tutulie sasa. Asanteni, tutulie. Asanteni, tutulie. Tunakushukuru sana kiongozi wetu
kwa kukuja siku ya leo. Sisi tunakukahakikishia Kipipiri tuko na wewe. Asante sana kwa kukuja. Thank you. Thank you. Haya, niko hapa na mgombea kiti wa kiti cha gavana Mheshimiwa
I think Madam Gradwa ni kama sijapata hiyo reason, but you can paste for us. I was expecting that guy. Huyu jamaa anasema tuko na wewe. Sijui kwa nini watu wamekataa Muhea, wamesema wataki kupika uji tena. So Bwana Mbudi, that criticization of mbunge wa Kipipiri as so what does that mean? Because I always see like that lady is very close to Gachagua. So is Gachagua going to sacrifice that woman, or Gachagua has to listen to the ground? Because hapo ground ni kama inakaa inatereza kwa huyo mama. What do you do to such cases whereby mtu kama huyo anaendelea tu kujifanya ako karibu sana na Gachagua because she thinks that hapo ndio you can survive, you can get a break. So what do you do?
I told you the reason why Raila and Ruto are where they are today is because they know how to disown you at the right time if it doesn't work for them. And for you to stay up there and continue to be relevant in the politics of Kenya, you must understand election and friendship are two diverse things. One of the best interviews Ruto ever gave was towards the election, and he went himself and called a media person, and he was interviewed, and I think it was unhinged interview that Ruto had, one of the few interviews that Ruto, be honest, and he gave a historical background on how he was an election director in Kano. He came and the Jubilee election that ended last time, I'm the one who gave people the tickets, and they were able to go and vie, and we made sure they were elected. Then he told people like Koistani. Remember, Koistani was for a long time the spokesman of Ruto. I think people forget very fast. Koistani used to be one of the few people within the within the Jubilee leadership, party leadership, ambayo, Tuju would want to frustrate, but Koistani stuck on his feet and defended Ruto on a serious level. But when it came to the Uasin gubernatorial, it was either waput koti moja or Leotae, this milk guy, was going to win. So Ruto came and told some of his supporters, he said, even if you are so close to me, this election is do and die for me. I will not give you a ticket if I know. If you remember his words very well, and you need to go put back, and that's why I tell you, if I have to be a politician, I'll be a Ruto politician. I'm not going to be a Uhuru or Raila politician. I'll be ruthless, like 2.0 Ruto. And you know what happened? The rest is history. Kosani is the chair of Kenya Airports Authority. And he gave seats to other people by not winning, but he made sure that he won the MPs he wanted, he won the presidency, whether by duplicity or what, he got what he wanted. So if Gachagua will copy and paste one thing from Ruto, is stamping the authority of the Wanjiku, of the electorate, and not undermining people from the onset. It is too early for the DCP to start going on favoritism angle and not listening to the people. Gachagua should listen to the people. Ni kama wakati unatongoza msichana, it's not time ya kwanza kumwambia vitu fulani. You want to make sure kwanza ameingia box. Unaelewa? And that's not misogyny. I mean, kuna vitu huwezi fanya kabla hujaingisha dem kwa box. Obviously, you know that, Njiri. We are not going to go through that. We don't want to sexualize our politics, but it's something we can borrow from. So if people in the ground, from what I have seen, the only thing I know about Kipipiri is when Moi put everything there, now watu wakamshow the middle finger. So I don't know so much about Kipipiri, and I know that, Kimunya used to be the MP for Kipipiri. Apart from that, I don't know so much about the background of Kipipiri right now. So I wouldn't comment about the woman. I will comment about how you shape your leadership. You win seats and you progress a party that is still very young in the political circle. And I think Gachagua must do everything possible to understand that the people have to be listened by all necessary means. There's a point in Africa whereby you force people to ingia watu kama Junet when a party is as old as ODM, you force things, But at the inception like that, I think if the people do not want your mama, and the other thing is, huyo mama anajikaza sana, and I think sometimes nimeanza kukataa watu wanajikaza sana. Recently in a certain rally, I don't know if you remember, was it last week or wakati nani alikuja, Gachagua came from the United States. I don't know if you captured. There was a guy who went to the podium. Na yeye alikuwa amejikakamua anajikaza sana, and he forgot and said Ruto hoye in the podium, and it was a slip of the tongue. I don't know if you remember that, and I really laughed. Hii kujikakamua saa ingine ya psycho fancy in the podium sometimes backfire so bad. I don't know if you saw that, but hiyo kitu ilinichekesha sana, and nikasema hii maneno ya watu kujikakamua bwana kwa podium saa ingine ina reverberate and then ina bring blanda ingine yenye mtu alikuwa ana think kutoka nyumbani mpaka unajua huyu ndi mtu wa Ruto. The guy Gachagua just came from the US. It's a moment of baba while you are away, and then the guy starts saying Ruto hoye. I mean that was bad. I don't know, you should put that clip, but
Okay, wacha kwanza nikuwekee DCP. DCP is reacting from Mbere the way you are just saying, so that you can percolate with them.
If the DCP stands for Skiza wa Kenya, we ask him our party leader to come on the ground and listen to the people of Mbere North. The people of Mbere North are very clear. They want the DCP party, not other small parties that died long time ago. How many MCs are from the DP? 0. How many MCs are from the bus? Only 4. Are these dominant parties in our region? No. If the survey is very clear and it can do is personal survey that the DCP party is the most popular party in Embu County. So how can a popular party then give out its person to small parties? It is unfair to the people of Mbere North. And that's why we are very clear that Mbere North, our candidate is Honorable Mbui. If by any chance decides to go independent, we will follow him there because the party belongs to the people. We will do everything possible to install our leader. We will do the sacrifice. We will work and do everything possible to ensure that Dan Mbowe is sent into power coming November. Those who are taking the people and residents of Mbere North for granted, readings are on walls. That what we have is Dan Mbowe in our heart and is the real deal of Mbere North.
Si kama Gen Z tuko nyuma ya Mbowe, tuliingia hii chama na tukaambiwa a lot of promises like honoring, hakutakuwa na kuruka wa bunge sijui nini. That is why we are here. That is why we came to this party to seek audience, So if you told Mbowe is going to go down there, tumeenda huko campaign, sisi hatujui mambo mengine, tunajua tunaenda kupiga kura kwa Mbowe.
Candidate wangu ni Mbowe na Kivoi nitasimama na yeye mpaka amalize na afike mpaka kule mwisho, regardless of anything, kwa sababu huyo ni mtu ambaye nimeona ndiye anaweza saidia Mbere North. Hao wengine wanangoja wakamatwe wasaidike lakini huyu amekuwa akijituma yeye mwenyewe. Na mimi hiyo ndio the politics ndio tunahitaji sahihi, siasa ambayo ni wewe kutoka kwa roho yako ndio unataka.
Yeah, I told you. I mean, those are propaganda, the media. Na ukiona kuna hii kitu ya na Maverick Aoko, you know, her Twitter Twitter page was temporarily taken out, and she came back blazing. One of the things that Maverick was saying that really, you know, I don't listen to Maverick a lot, but I think on this, I think I was kind of perturbed because the extent she went into explaining was how the media has been taken hostage, and how Ken Mijungu on coming to the media in 47, and then he was fired immediately. Who replaced her? Who is who in ABCD, and showing how the media is micromanaged to bring out the outcome of what Ruto wants to see in the political circle. So I'm telling you, there is nothing true about the popularity of these leaders or the DP party that we are talking about. I mean, these are, you know, ways to give Justin, because these people have, you know, one of the things that Ruto is privy of is having psychologists to study the character and the pattern of somebody. And one of the things he knows about Justin Muturi and his character is Muturi ni mtu wa kukasirika na kwenda kwa mlima rahisi sana to go and seek a divine intervention if he's not given what he wants. So and to that end, they want to make sure that there's a rift between Justin Muturi and Gachagua as soon as possible, so that again, you know, there will be a rift in that. But there's no rift within the mountain. The mountain should be stamp its foot and say, you know what, DCP is our party. Hii maneno ingine mnaletewa candidates that are not popular, and you know, you have said, the people have said very well, these are parties that died long time ago. They don't even have MCS, and that is a fact. So we can't all of a sudden see the revival of DP party from nowhere, and that does not make any sense. And that's what I said over and over. I mean, there is a deliberate skew from the people who are insiders of the president to do what? To undermine the popularity of DP as a whole, which is not right. Yeah, of our DCP, not DP.
Okay, so Budi, that one is okay. Sasa, let's see if DCP will be able to retract. Hiyo ni ground imesema. Let's see if DCP will be able to retract, or if they will be able to correct that. So, nimeona bwana Simba hapo. Simba is ni kama wanashikana na Mukunji. Mukunji is going for governor. Simba is going for deputy governor. I think. Anyway, let's see if they will be able to retract that. So, kuna watu nasikianga wakisema although I don't know to what extent, bwana Budi, do you agree with that? Najua your father atakatana nayo, sijui the will of people, sijui watu wanasemanga sauti ya watu ni sauti ya Mungu ama ni nini? Ni kitu kama, what do people say? Like some funny stuff when I don't know what people say. Like kuna ka statement nasikia watu wakisema sijui sauti ya anyway, sometimes majority can be wrong, but anyway, in politics we always say that the majority has to win even if they are wrong. That is the rule of majority. So there is a guy who is claiming that it is impossible to steal a Kenyan election. So bwana Budi, nataka uanalyze this story, alafu the guy seems to be a professor or the doctor. Let's listen.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, we are making sense of IEBC 2 months. The commissioners are in office now. The preparations ahead of the 24 by-election, saying that they will steal the 2027 election. Wajia Woman Rep, for instance, saying tutamuongezea mtu fulani. Oscar Sudi is on record having equally said they will top up the results.
Okay. You know, Abdullahi, I used to mention names of our political leadership when I was in the analysis phase. Where I am now, in my capacity as a commissioner of IBC, I address specifics that concern us. So please permit me to say this. Sometimes as a commission, we get uncomfortable because some remarks have the effect of denting the credibility of IBC. They not only have the capacity to dent the credibility of IBC, but they also discourage the interests of voters in participating in the electoral process. Because these leaders have followers who believe in them, who trust them. And when they make some comments, those comments have the effect of either helping the commission or actually destroying the commission, maybe unwittingly. And so you realize that if, for example, the comments are to the effect that whatever happens, imenda, okay, as a good politician would like to say, what are you telling the voter, the average voter? That something has already been cooked? These politicians have influence over IBC. These politicians are the ones who appointed IBC. And after all, just because before we were appointed, there were graphics in the papers showing whose godfather was who. We didn't see any godmother. I don't know why they discriminate. And so it actually leads to voter apathy. As a commission, what guides us is the electoral law, particularly the electoral code of conduct, which bars candidates from engaging in talks that can be counterproductive, not only to the credibility of the election, but also to the peace and stability of the nation before, during, and after the elections. However,
Commissioner, regardless of the reckless remarks these politicians have made in the past, I think the fundamental question what we'll ask is, how easy or difficult is it to top up? Is it possible to top up? Kujazilia, as they have said.
It is not possible. And I would advise the citizens to let the politicians be. Of course, as IBC, we can simply and kindly beg that our politicians do exercise restraint, particularly when it comes to making remarks about whether or not this voting will go this way or that way. But on the whole, we urge as a commission the citizens to understand that from where we sit, it is not possible to steal an election. And Abubakar, next time, invite me and my team.
I get to understand, maybe this guy is from IBC, but he is claiming it is not possible to steal an election in Kenya. That's why, Budi, I needed you to help me understand. So do we push an illusion, or at what angle is this guy talking from? I totally got completely lost. It is impossible to steal an election in Kenya. Hebu tumusikilize.
I always make a point to work with our tech leads so that we do a simulation here. This is a promise I made to KTN in the morning, and I can still make to you, that we do a simulation here. I bring the director of elections, I bring the manager of elections, and simulate how voting is done. And then ask any member of the public to tell us how it is possible that, for example, in a polling station where the kit is configured only to accept 700 voters, because the law says, Section 38A says, each polling station can only have 700 voters. there is no way you're going to have more than 700.
Fair enough. Let's not dwell on the comments of those politicians.
Yes.
We are 702 days away to the elections. Of course, IBC is more than welcome to explain to Kenyans on TV 47 and Radio 47 of how the process is.
Yes.
We have what some have termed as one of the most expensive electoral and elections models.
Okay.
Why is it so, in your view?
Thank you. Again, I have heard that. Expensive must be put in context. Expensive must be relative. If we just say the election is expensive without putting it in context, then we miss the point. But yes, it is expensive. But why is it expensive? What are the cost drivers? Number one, we must all be reminded that our elections are largely manual. What we do is we use biometrics in terms of registration. We also use biometrics in terms of identification, and we use electronic transmission. Apart from that, everything is manual. And even where we have transmitted, for example, the results for presidential, because we don't trust each other, we have put layers and layers of laws. For instance, even after you transmit the presidential tally to the National Tallying Center, the form must physically be delivered by all the constituents, all. Physically, imebebwa, ikasindikizwa na askari waliobeba bunduki kwa sababu tuaminiani hadi polling kule tallying center, National Tallying Center wakati ule ilikuwa ni Bomas. Wakati huu hatujui itakuwa ni gani, maana Bomas inaendelea katika ukarabati. So number one, our voting is manual. If it pains us enough that we are spending too much money on our elections, we ought to look at the possibility of making our voting digital.
And you say, if as a commission, do you think we are overspending on the electoral system?
No, I wouldn't go there. Allow me to go to the next one. Let's look at what is costing this. We have 46,229 polling stations. In each polling station is a separate unit. You know, it's important that citizens understand this. In each polling station, we have a minimum of 10 employees whom we pay. Multiply 10 minimum, they go to 12 because there are more other logistics. We have to feed them. Now, multiply 46,000, for example, times 10. You're talking of over 500,000 employees that have to be paid. Then there are logistics. So when you look at the cumulative sum, you realize that we are heavy on human resource, we are heavy on hardware, we are heavy on ballot papers. Do you know how many ballot papers at the end of the day are cast in our elections? 132 million. And do you know, for instance, how much it will cost us if we went e-voting? Much less. You also must appreciate, Bakar, that we have 6 elections same day, from presidency to member of county assembly, 6. And yet, when we compare, for example, with India, as I was coming, our manager was telling us that India does not employ polling clerks, the presiding officers, they use public servants.
People already in the payroll of the government.
So I think we need a day when we can now look at what are the cost drivers, when you have plenty of time, what are the cost drivers of our elections? But yes, it's a lot of money. And yet the country's fiscal headroom is thinner and thinner. We ought to do better. But it is a national conversation that cannot be answered by IBC in our present circumstances.
Fair enough.
For now, we'll move with what we have and ensure that we deliver the election as we are required.
IBC is a referee in an often heated political landscape.
That's what IBC is saying. I'm surprised. So I don't believe. I don't believe. Hiyo nayo siamini. I don't believe. Wacha niwekee ya mwisho. Sorry. Fish in Turkana die of old age.
Welcome to Conga Composer, the dynamic
and Kamariki, KTN.
President William Ruto now seems to have perfected the art of offering big promises, some bordering on the absurd, while other statements seem to be theatrical, even as he marks exactly 3 years since taking oath of office.
While the president is yet to deliver a machine that churns out 1 million chapatis daily, as he had pledged, last week he left residents of Turkana perplexed after he claimed that Lake Turkana is the only lake that fish die due to old age.
As our senior political affairs reporter Chris Styro reports, Kenyans are yet to see swimming lions or a parliament of baboons.
I, William Samoei Ruto.
As the Kenya Kwanza administration marks the 3 years since forming government, President William Ruto has continued to confirm that he never runs out of ideas, promises, or even suggestions, more often bordering on the absurd. Last week, while meeting a delegation from Turkana County at State House, Nairobi, the president left the residents perplexed when he alluded of fish dying due to old age.
No, hapo Turkana, you're the only lake samaki inakufa out of old age.
Well, children in Mathare slums have found themselves swept up in the president's wave of promises. Are they still wait for the president to honor his pledge of delivering a machine that churns 1 million chapatis daily to support the Dishi na Mtaani initiative started by the county government of Nairobi?
Ninunue mashini ya kutengeneza chapo na nimekubali nitamnunulia mashini na kutengeneza chapo.
Kenyans also waiting to see the swimming lions in the parliament of baboons in our national parks.
I invite you to go to Naivasha, and you will find a phenomenon called the baboon parliament, where baboons meet regularly at a particular place, at a particular time, and they discuss their legislative issues. Please travel to Lamu, and you will have an opportunity to watch the swimming lions there.
And there is more. In March 2023, President Ruto announced that the prices of 6 kg gas cylinder will be reduced from 2,800 to 300 within 4 months. Well, the prices are still skyrocketing. Traders are still waiting for free internet in open markets and every household connected to Wi-Fi. Chris Styro, KTN, Nairobi.
That is the man we are competing with. You don't need a plan. Ambia tu Gachagua tu akuwe more elaborate. You don't need a plan. Now, my last video ni hii. Mama wetu yule ambaye tumekuwa tukipigana naye ni kama amekubali kazi ya Kasongo. Let's hear.
Is our sign language interpreter. The Law Society of Kenya President Faith Odhiambo is facing mounting criticism after accepting to serve as vice chairperson on the newly sworn-in panel tasked with developing a framework to compensate victims of protests and police brutality. It is a move that has sparked mixed reactions within legal and civil society circles. Chebet Birer tells us more.
I, Faith Odhiambo Omoni. And even before she settles down on her new responsibilities, many critics, including her colleagues at the Law Society, are not happy with her decision. Levi Munyeri, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, has already threatened to initiate her removal from office if she does not resign from the panel. In a letter dated 4th September 2025 and delivered to LSK offices, Munyeri says, and I quote, "The panel has duplicated the function of a constitutional creation, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, KNCHR, whose functions are outlined in Article 59 of the Constitution to include to receive and investigate complaints about alleged abuses of human rights and take steps to secure appropriate redress where human rights have been violated." Patently, the president of LSK has taken an oath to serve in a panel of experts that is anchored on unconstitutionality. More critics argue that the constitutional framework further allocates these responsibilities to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, or DPP, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, and the Victims Protection Agency, VPA. The president's unilateral creation of this panel therefore duplicates and undermines these constitutional organs, breaching Articles 1(1), 2(2), 10(2), and 129(1), which establish the supremacy of the Constitution, the rule of law, and good governance as national values.
There is a step that is being skipped. We have not seen any of those perpetrators, those who came in Subarus. None of them has been brought to book. None of them has been, arrested.
Munyeri argues that Odhiambo's involvement compromises the independence of the Law Society of Kenya, an institution expected to remain neutral and hold the state accountable. Other critics argue that joining a presidential task force blurs the line between justice advocacy and political endorsement. But Odhiambo has defended her decision, stating that her involvement ensures transparency and legal accountability, and that the victims' voices will be safeguarded through legal representation within the process. In this exercise, my service will be solely to the people of Kenya. There is no Kenya that belongs exclusively to politicians or their children. Neither does it belong to broad-based government, nor a country of cousins. Another letter dated 5th September and written to the CEO of the Law Society of Kenya by Advocate Paul Kiragu Wadhuta argues that while the imperative of delivering justice and reparations to victims of police brutality and public protests is commendable, it is essential to interrogate the constitutional propriety of the panel's establishment. Kiragu goes ahead to quote Article 132(4) of the Constitution of Kenya, which clearly circumscribes the powers of the president to those expressly conferred by the Constitution or by an act of parliament. The panel, however, was constituted by presidential proclamation and gazetted without any enabling legislative framework or recommendation by the Public Service Commission. Should my efforts be frustrated or cannot be or undermined in any manner whatsoever, I am prepared to do the honorable thing in fidelity with the rule of law and the Constitution of Kenya. Faith Odhiambo is now caught up in a clash between personal conviction and professional expectations. Whether her choice was based on moral duty, legal insight, or public service, it is now subject to institutional accountability. In yet another letter dated 5th September 2025, Advocate of the High Court, Francis Wanjiku, has written to the LSK CEO requesting for a general special meeting to discuss Faith Odhiambo's service to the society, and I quote, "In light of these concerns, I respectfully request that the Council, pursuant to Section 16 of the Law Society of Kenya Act 2014, convene an extraordinary general meeting of the LSK membership to deliberate and decide with finality."
Anyway, wacha nisiende sana. In Kenya tutaacha upuzi ya kucelebrate mtu mapema. we did wrong to celebrate this woman too early. We thought that sababu tulikuwa tunamuona anaonekana kwa watu wa maandamano nini, now he is now even now going to disobey law. He was not supposed to join that commission. So I think this lady has destroyed all her legacy. That is the capacity which Ruto has. So musiogope yule mtu anasema anataka kwenda kufanya kazi na Ruto. Ukienda kufanya kazi na Ruto unaisha. This woman is not old. I think she is almost in her early 40s or maybe late 30s. She has just destroyed one of the most lucrative career of a young woman who could have risen to high institution echelon powers, but she can't now. And it's not about hatred, but she has just done the wrong thing. I don't know why these people are so blind. Unaona tu kamshahara kidogo ama pesa kidogo, you think you are making it. Or maybe she thought that maybe Mr. Ruto has stabilized. He hasn't. Anyway, it's unfortunate that she had to end up this way. To some extent, hata tulikuwa tunafikiria ni mtu hata tunaweza muingiza kwa siasa. That is why politics is being hitched and being stable. It's so unfortunate that we were trusting these people that they were part of us and they are not. Anyway, thank you very much. I don't want to proceed with this podcast again until we meet tomorrow. I hope that we had a good time here. So sasa mimi nitafunga. Kesho ni siku. Have a nice evening, have a nice day, have a nice night wherever you are. Till we meet tomorrow, glory, honor, and blessings be upon you. Thank you. Bye.